Do you even art, bro?
Skype and I can code window, not that. Alright, so it's pretty much I don't hear it. So we're basically just hosting AJ at the moment.
What? Yay, hosting me. Why am I reversed?
You probably have your camera mirrored like a jackass.
What?
Yay.
Yay, jackass! Nope, nope, nope,
Wait, I
nope,
put
nope.
this fucking shit in the background so I hear double shit.
Oh.
Oh yeah, alright.
You probably got your sound going, son.
Yeah. Turn that off because I can hear
Screen
built.
region. Let's go with
I'm gonna tweet.
this. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, let me have Kyle tweet about it maybe too.
Make him do everything.
On Psydra. Well, I feel bad.
You feel bad about making him do everything, or you feel bad so you make him do everything? I'm a little confused.
The second one. I don't know. He's probably watching. He's probably angry at me right now. Let's see. I'll Facebook about this too. We'll make this the big one. What do you guys think?
Sure.
This should be
Uh,
a meeting thing now.
Oh, I am still...
Yeah, we should probably do our. I guess we can kind of do our meeting as we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're all here except Kyle, but he's watching. Okay.
Let's go ahead.
We're not streaming yet, are we? You can't hear me.
Yeah, we totally are.
Oh, okay. Hi, Kyle.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry.
God, there's my face. Ah.
Don't worry, we're streaming it up. I'm gonna add chat to this one now.
Oh, I need to shave. Look at that.
Screen
That's awful.
region. I'm not allowed to anymore.
No.
No, you're a forever beard guy.
You gotta appease your fans now.
Yeah, no. This is what we are. We're fucking beard guy game.
How the fuck are you getting more fan art if you shave?
Yeah. Can only expect so much. Legacy mode. Now people will all know that AJ, the first thing AJ did was write testes
Yep.
in chat.
Oh, good.
I did, well, you're right.
Let's see.
Testes.
Ah, nice. That's how you test things, yep.
Duh.
Message.
Jewels.
Oh god, I need a third monitor just to keep this bullshit up.
I'm already on top of that.
What's
Oh, yeah,
up? What's up? I'm the Ziggy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
man.
make chat a little bigger, I guess. Let's do that.
Oh, I'm the Ziggy's already in?
Yeah, you don't fuck around.
Yeah, right? He's on the ball.
Shit. Get a phone call. Be our bizzle.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna crop that. Gonna crop the top. Crop the top.
That's what she said. Oh my
Jesus
god.
Fucking
Jesus.
damn it.
What the fuck?
Bottom. We can crop the bottom as well.
Oh crap.
There's
I
a
think
beautiful
I
chat
need
window.
to... Damn it. I don't know how to change this. How do you edit your tweets?
I'll throw me down here. We'll do chat here.
Damn it.
I'm not used to this layout thing.
I used your wrong Twitter profile, Mr. Bro.
Oh,
Right.
use my... Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, hold on, how do I get rid of it?
Thanks for hanging out. I'm the Ziggy.
Yeah, welcome, man.
I'm not the Ziggy.
I don't know how to change this.
I just Facebooked this. It's crazy.
Well,
Going all PR on this. Pulling out all the stops.
I'm the Ziggy. You must have gotten that email real fast because we started a whole minute ago, and usually
Yeah,
the
right?
emails take a long time. So you must have a super account or something. Let's see.
Crap.
What the dicks?
If dog one. There it is.
That's the Twitch link. Check out Psydra Games. Copy.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, what?
Hi. How come if I have a camera locked in an area with cam target, when a clone dies, it snaps back to the player instead of remaining locked?
Whoa.
Holy shit!
All right, I'm gonna turn that off right now.
Yeah, please do.
Please.
It's on silent. It's on silent. That should never happen again.
Zenny Game Dev is also in.
Welcome, Zenny Game Dev.
What? And he's also in because of the email.
Wow, man, people
look
are getting
at that, that's
emails
crazy.
super fast today. It's
Right?
amazing.
I don't even have my email yet. All right, Joe, I'm gonna kick you out this asset, and then I'm going to. Shit. What do I gotta do? What am I doing today? Give me notes.
Do some idle animations for the player.
What? I'm not gonna do miscellaneous idle animations.
You don't want to do miss? Okay, well, let's look
Wow.
at something else then.
He's
Jesus.
better than that. He's better
Alright,
than
I
that.
see how it is. It's cool.
You're
it's cool,
insulting
man.
him with your
cool,
idle
bro.
animation suggestion.
I mean, duh. No, I can do. I'll do those
hey,
while I figure
Alex.
out one to do.
Hey,
What?
Alex.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
Did you by any chance do that thing I asked you to do?
Uh oh.
What's
The
I
one
think
thing.
I think you may have. I only asked
What?
you one thing.
Oh, yeah, to upload all the GIFs?
Yeah, it looks like you
Yeah,
did.
yeah, I did that last night. Yeah, sorry, I meant to tell you.
Amazing, thank you.
No problemo.
Yes, I'm super happy about this. Because now what I can do is kind of just host. Go away, fuck you.
Sorry, Jesus.
You know what? Maybe just don't be an asshole from now on.
Alright.
All right. I am reorganizing my hierarchy here.
I'm just gonna put up some gifs.
Back.
Back in action.
Yep.
See,
And to our to Zenny Game Dev and I'm the Ziggy, because you guys have been with us for a bit. The guy that we always talk about, Chris, he's the guy that you're hearing now.
What up?
hey,
Hey.
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Who was that? Was that a fucking Twitch person?
No, that was.
We're just letting Randalls into our stream now.
Yep.
Hey, if anyone wants to just join in on the stream, call me up on Skype.
Yep. I'm surprised it doesn't happen. They fucking search for you and shit. If you got random people hollering at you on Skype.
If you show your Skype name, I'm sure that will happen at some point.
Some of those. I will warn you, by the way. There is one GIF in there that has a
What up, Ziggy?
character with a penis on him. You probably know which GIF that is, Joe.
Is it the one called penis in all caps?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So that's gonna flash. No pun
Seen it.
intended. Every once in a while. So.
So yeah, I'm finishing my salad, so I'm just hosting gifs right now on my screen while we do this.
Jesus, so healthy.
Is that a GIF with the balls dropping?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We've got the mic drop, and then we've got the balls drop. So
Ball drop.
ball drop.
Angel room.
Ball dropping.
Zenny Game Dev, Chris, he's offering you an African baby. I think he's really serious. So just
Yeah,
letting.
except for the part where he said that was a joke.
I didn't read that part. I'm pretty sure he's very
I
serious.
told myself I was gonna stop after I got 3.
Okay, fair
Calm
enough.
down for that shit.
You know, if you
You're like
put
a cat
three-
hoarder.
They disappear. Yikes. Oh,
All right, what do I call
Just
these?
want-
You
to
just
start
compare
here we go.
cats
Here we
to
go.
African children.
No,
I just wanted to start.
Oh my god.
Oh.
How did I get to become
Excuse
racist?
me. This is coming from the person who went on like a freaking tirade about Arizona last Twitch. Jesus.
Mhm.
Oh, come on. Can we stop with the Arizona? Really?
Oh man, we're taking it back there.
I didn't bring it up.
The what?
No, I didn't bring it up. Fucking Alex. is the one who
Okay, yeah, it was my bad
stood up
this
his
time.
ass.
Okay, wow. Well, maybe some people are into that. I think you ever think about that thing.
All right, so I can't win at all.
Yeah, I'm just saying maybe being sensitive a little bit more. That's all I'm saying here. I'm glad we could start this on a classy note.
Yep.
Yep. So on that note, I am consolidating this hierarchy and making this into less objects so that we're not sitting there fucking shuffling through a whole bunch of stuff.
Shuffling.
Every day I'm shuffling. But yeah, I'm making it so that basically we have way less stuff to parse. Whatever.
Sweet.
Go through.
I'm not sharing my screen at the moment, but I'm working on the first level where you need to murder clones in order to get ahead.
Alright, fixing hierarchy. What is this? What is this? What the fuck is this?
Yo, AJ, I got a question for you.
Shoot.
Somewhat related to this, maybe.
I love
Like
it.
you're doing models and stuff in Maya, and
Right.
that goes on to the person rigging stuff. Do you have all your models like consolidated, or, like all of your model stuff consolidated in a group?
I mean, it kind of depends on what I'm doing, really. Like for this particular one, for example, I have to, I'm consolidating all of the models into either, like this one is in a group.
Yeah, I mean more of like in a VFX standpoint. Like say you're going to be referencing in all that geo into your rig file. Do you give the person all of your geometry like in a group, and then they'd be forced to what's it called? Like constrain everything instead of parenting stuff?
It's big.
Usually that's how it works.
Yeah.
Because it bakes out a lot easier. Like the problem is if you have things in a group, or if you have things parented under other things. Like if you notice, even this piece here that was originally like not a piece of the door. See how it's doing that? See how it's constrained?
Yeah.
That makes it so that if I were to bake it out, it kills that constraint. So it no longer is constrained, but now it has all of that animation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like for example, when I was showing you, I'll show you with Spider Mouse real quick. Whenever he comes up. When you have a rig like that, if you have it constrained rather than doing anything else, then it'll bake out a lot easier. Rather than having to go through and then reconstrain it to a null and then reconstrain that, it's a giant pain in the ass to get it off the hierarchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I like just straight parenting stuff. I don't even mind if the geo file I'm getting in is like the outliner is cluttered because nothing's grouped.
Right.
But, I'm running into issues like because I don't mind having to constrain stuff in my rig file, but they're like regular standard parent constraints don't bring in scaling stuff too. So I'm running into some issues with that.
No, it sometimes. I mean, it kind of depends on what you're doing, though. Like realistically, you can set it to do the scaling. You know, when
Not
you
a
bake it
parent
out,
constraint.
sure you can.
Nah,
I mean, you'd have to do it.
parent
You'd have to do it with
constraints.
no. Well, you'd have to constrain. You'd have to do like a different scale constraint on top of it. See this right here?
You have to do a scale constraint as well. Okay.
Yes, sir. So you do a parent constraint and then a scale constraint.
I see.
So and that's what makes it so that you can do that.
Yeah.
But
Is that a better alternative than to just parenting stuff? Say like I have some like rigging spaceships right now work, and it's got like hundreds of pieces of geometry that are all under a group node, so I have to do constraints. Is that like, I don't know, is that more effective than just straight parenting, or is that more like memory shit's gonna run slower, shit like that? Sorry to bogart the stream too, talking about some work shit, but this is kind of related.
Well, I mean, it's related to rigging, which is kind of what I'm doing right now, anyway.
Yeah.
So, in that particular instance, I mean, how high poly is it?
I can't tell because fucking Maya doesn't have like a real kind of turbo smooth thing. Some of them are really dense. The fucking files for some of these spaceships are like 300 megabytes or so. Jesus, it's big for just geometry and stuff.
Well, that's for VFX.
Yeah. So it seems like it's collapsed with like a turbo smooth, but it's like, it doesn't show all the geo. I forget what the hell that is called. Like if you put a turbo smooth on something in Max, you could turn on the isoline display, and it kind of shows like a less
like the boxy version of it.
Not boxy, but like less actual. Like it shows like less lines and shit, less on the wireframe.
Oh right.
So I feel like it has that going on. So I can't remember exactly how dense it is. But.
Right, but it still shows it in smooth mode.
Yeah.
Go up here.
Correct.
So not to interrupt you guys with actually talking to people who are watching us, but
Sorry.
on the Ziggy, this is a question I guess for everybody, and a pretty funny one. If you could work for any video game company in the world, which one would it be, or what's your favorite video game company? It says he would love to work at Valve, and Naughty Dog is a close second.
So you just want to write OS software? Is that what you want to do?
So you don't want to make games, is what you're saying?
You want to work on Steam code? So I'm just busting stuff.
Oh, I mean Valve. Like, when was the last game that Valve put out?
They work on that fucking or the whatever it's called, the MOBA game.
Well, their animation
Dota
is
2?
stellar.
Yeah, Dota 2. Oh yeah, their animation's the shit. I love those Team Fortress shorts. Those things are incredible.
Yeah, they really are.
Stalkers is a good one.
But they do that with tools they built too. They got their own little animation software. So they do cool shit. But
They definitely do.
I don't know. Me personally, I like Nintendo stuff. I don't think.
Oh
I'm-
god, I knew that was coming.
They're the best.
I'm right with you, Chris.
Yeah, they're the best. Their game.
Nintendo
He is 100% the biggest Nintendo fanboy ever.
I'm pretty fanboyish too. I just want to throw that out there. I'm a huge nerd.
If you look at it just from a gameplay standpoint, they make the best games.
They're way up there.
I will agree with that. They actually like fun.
Yeah.
They do like fun. I actually myself I would probably work for Treasure. My favorite game company of all time.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry. I mean, right up there with Nintendo and old school SquareSoft. I mean, I think Treasure. They just do no wrong. Probably need to learn.
They make all the, like the shooter type game. They make like fuck, I can't remember any of the games right now. Like Gunstar Heroes and shit. They made that.
Yeah,
right?
that's exactly it. Yeah. Every game they
Sin and
make.
Punishment, is that them too?
That's also them. They are just the masters at what they do, and they do everything. So, yeah, I would work there.
Yeah.
These guys are great. Would learn so much.
I think they'd probably go to Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog would be pretty sick.
I don't know. Or Platinum Games.
Platinum
Yeah,
Games.
Platinum Games. Yep.
They're the shit.
They are the bomb.
So yeah, I don't know, man. Square is pretty tempting for me because I know that know that they're a sore spot for a lot of people, but Final Fantasy 14 is still my favorite MMO, and honestly, I'm a little bit tempted to work on the MMO. I would kind of like to do that. That'd be an interesting thing. It'd be an interesting challenge. Should kickstart one. Yeah, we should kickstart an MMO.
Yeah.
God, that's always been my dream to make an MMO, and so if you give me $5 million, I think I could make it.
All you need is 50,000. That's all you need.
That's true. All you need is 50. What do you think, Jeff? Haven't you seen these Kickstarters?
But honestly,
Oh yeah.
honestly, though, as like other than that, working for like a big studio, it has its benefits and it has its downsides. Like you're not. I don't think anybody is just like well, not anybody. Again, I'm going to be accused of generalizing every single person in the world, but I think that most people, especially anyone who kind of has their own vision, doesn't want to work for like a big company for the rest of their lives and all that stuff. I think it's really good to have that experience, but I don't think that's anyone's like ultimate goal to be like, no, I want to work at Valve and then just work there forever and never do my own thing. I think a lot of people want to also just do their own thing, and that's the kind of end goal. I would say it probably is for us, for
Yeah.
most people here. on this chat right now.
Yeah, and I mean, even those people that think that they just want to work at, quote unquote, Valve for the rest of their life, with a bit more experience, I think ultimately that will come into play where they're going to want to, do something on their own where they have control. So
yeah, I think that, and I think most people who have a dream of working at a big studio have never worked at a big studio, and so you don't quite know what you're asking for.
I was actually going to mention that to you, Joe, about Square.
Yeah, no, I know.
I haven't heard of. I from my friends who have worked there, like, not super awesome things, man.
Yeah, no,
I've heard
I
the
100% believe it. I 100% believe that. There's no doubt in my mind that there are definite downsides to working at Square. I have that's not a question in my mind. But it's still, there's still like that temptation of like, it would be interesting to have that experience still of working on a game that is like the pinnacle of something, like, one of my favorite games or something like that.
Right.
That's always a neat thing. It'd be cool to do that.
Something to put under your belt and just be like, yeah, this is
for sure.
I did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
But so I think let's just say that I'm sure for at least myself and Alex and probably I assume Kyle at the very least, I think our dream job is this. I think if we can work full time on Psydra and then not have other jobs, that's the dream.
That's my dream.
That's the dream.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say that's kind of the summary of that answer. I think this is funny. Zenny Game Dev just said, well, you modeled this spawny thing since about 4 or 5 days. I think the bearded eating monster is the boss, right? No.
The what?
I believe that's referring to me. No, actually, it might be. It's hard because some people refer to me as Beard Guy, but then also our main character. So I don't know what the bearded eating monster. I don't know. I don't know what, if you're talking about the game or the people making the game. So we can fully answer that.
Joe, you're the final boss now.
You should actually. Well, I'm assuming he says, I think the spawny thingy looks good and should actually be implemented by the boss. No, if you really want to know, bro behind me right now is technically boss man. This guy right here is boss man. The lead designer, kind of project lead, whatever you want to call it. The CEO of the company. Yes, he is like. He's like main studio bro.
Yeah, we're all bros here though.
We're all bros.
We're all bros.
I don't know any of these guys. Fuck them.
Hey, Bro Joe, by the way, I've got some clone questions for you when you get a chance.
Oh boy.
Look out now.
Let me share my screen for a sec. Actually, I'm gonna screen share. Share my screen.
Oh, good. Then I guess people can not just sit there and watch me freaking redo a hierarchy.
As exciting as that is.
Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Where it's at, though.
When you guys can see my screen, I'll show you what's going on here. So there's two things I'm running into.
Okay.
I'm honestly confused as to what to look at because I get so much shit going on with stuff.
Your video's not really coming through just yet.
Mine's not coming through.
It may. You may.
Can see it.
No, there we go. We're good.
Wait.
Yay.
We're good.
Okay. Check.
My window is the little bottom window right here.
Oh.
Alright, so check this action out. So this is a clone level. In this level, you need to get all your clones murdered in order to proceed.
Okay.
So you drop down, creates these 4 clones, right? So you got to get them murdered in any order of your choosing. I like to kind of go clockwise like this. Yeah. And so what that will do after all 4 clones are murdered is it will, in theory, raise the center platform to elevate it, doing 2 things at the same time. First thing, allowing you access to the previous room. Second thing, opening up 2 more routes. But yeah, there's 2 bugs going on right here. In both of them, I'm not sure if we have the hooks in for Nod to fix yet. So let me run it by you. The first thing
So they may
is
be features and not bugs, is what you're saying? Maybe. Maybe.
But okay. So the first thing that happens here, well, this one's definitely a bug. So the first thing that happens here is if one of the clones gets killed, the camera goes back to me, and I'd rather have it locked at all times until I designate for it to not be locked anymore.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that just almost certainly a bug, because the way that I have it is that if the camera is locked onto a clone and that clone dies, then it puts it back to the player. So I'll definitely look at that.
Cool. The second thing too is is there currently a way for when these 4 clones die that I can say raise this moving platform?
I don't think so. I think we have clone deaths as a way. I don't know what I'm doing with this. Oh shit! I think we have clone deaths as a way to block portals from you being able to enter them. I don't know that we have. I don't know that we really have the. There we go. I don't know that we have the. I guess it would be it would just block a trigger then. Because you'd have to have something like a trigger zone, then actually do the action.
I'm almost wondering, well, let me know what you think of this. So in moving platforms, we have something in the script itself. We have completion objects, right? I almost wonder, would it be possible just to drag the clone spawner into the completion objects, and what that would mean is that if the clone dies, once all clones here die, it moves this moving platform. That might be the easiest, from a pipeline perspective, might be the easiest way for design to do it.
I think you're not understanding what completion objects are.
No, I guess not. Yeah, go on.
Actually, wait a second. Are the completion objects for a platform and not for a level, or not for a room?
Yeah, correct. On moving platform script, the completion object, if I'm not mistaken, we actually implemented this because we had a few things where we only make the moving platforms activate if the player hits X number of buttons, right? So the buttons would be dragged into the completion object script. So I'm just wondering if maybe we can share that functionality, or I guess it would be a new feature get the clone spawners into the completion object. So what that would mean is, once the clone is dead, it counts towards completion of this moving platform. Once all completion objects criteria has been met, moving platform activates its animation.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at that shit.
Word.
I'm gonna switch over to. Yeah, this is so professional. God damn, I'm good.
Super professional.
Look at this. Look at this. This is super profesh. Let's go ahead and look at. I don't know if it's enough for people to read. I would like it to be. Yeah, it looks like it's enough. But I think I'm only broadcasting at 720. I'm going to have to fix that at some point.
It's like I don't even know you anymore.
I know, I'm a failure.
Fucking amateur hour. Better be 60 frames per second, or I'm going to post some shit.
YouTube now has 60 frames per second.
Now I can finally watch it. See what all the hubbub about is about.
All right.
Newfangled YouTube.
Yeah.
So here's the way this works. The way our completion objects work is that a moving platform can, let's see, a moving platform can have a number of required buttons, or I suppose also trigger zones, that you have to enter or push down or enter respectively, in order to make a moving platform move. So if you have like 3 different buttons, you have to push them all down, and only when you have pushed the 3rd one down, regardless of the order that you did it in, only when you have pushed all of them down, will that platform then move. Mm-hmm. I'm short out of the stream, BRB. Okay. Alright. See you in a minute then,
see you, man.
Zenny Game Dev. So,
BRB
the two things that we have, available right now for our completion objects are trigger buttons and trigger zones. So all we should have to do is make sure that the temp activate. So what we'll have to do is make sure that the clone, for the clone control, that the clone is dead then, if we add a clone in there, right? That should pretty much be it. By the way, don't let me forget, Alex, I figured out that huge problem we were having with the checkpoints in that in the Angel Boss.
Oh, okay, great.
Figured it out, and I have an idea for what to do about it, and we'll have to go over it.
Okay, sure. Just let me know whenevs.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we go over that ASAP. All right, so here's the thing. We don't have... on the Ziggy, you just asked another question. As you guys did yesterday, a couple of you weren't here when I did. Maybe we should have name tags. Maybe I should add that. Maybe if I can add text, I'll add name tags for you, Ziggy. Our names are down below in one of our descriptions, but it's okay that you're not sure who's who, because people pop in and out. Let's see. How did you get into game dev? Well, so I guess since AJ and I have the same answer, did you want to tell that story, AJ, or do you want me to do it? Is he even there?
There?
I guess
AJ?
he's not there.
I haven't heard
Hi,
a
AJ.
duel.
So I'll tell you how AJ got out of game dev, and that is by being absent for this part of the stream. He's fired, is what I'm saying.
Fucked up.
So to answer your question about how we got into game dev, this is just AJ and myself, because we got into game development together, like at the same time in every sense. So what basically happened was AJ and I he was living in Japan at the time. Like, we've been friends for a long time. And when when he was living in Japan, we started playing, again, going back to the whole Square Enix thing. We were playing Final Fantasy XI pretty much every day of our lives. That every minute that we were not working, or the 2 hours a night that we slept, we were playing Final Fantasy XI. Pretty much like all we did other than work and sleep. This just went on for like probably too long. I mean, it was like months. Like he had graduated from what is it, Philadelphia Art Institute Art Institute. Yeah. And he had graduated and then ended up just finding a job teaching English in Japan. And I had just graduated, and then in that interim of trying to find a job, I graduated from William Patterson in New Jersey for sound engineering. And in the interim, so right after that, I had moved back with my parents so that I could not have to pay rent while I looked for a real job for the first time ever in my life. And so at this time, we were just on Skype every day and playing Final Fantasy XI. And one day we were just like, you know what? We should actually do something with our lives. Instead of just trying to like look for jobs, we should actually just start doing something, like being productive. And so we decided at first, the first thing we did was had this idea to make this animated television show, for lack of a better term. It would be like a YouTube show or something like that. An animated series, if you will. And the series was called Farce. And I have stuff on my external drive that, maybe we'll like show one day if we do like a super special stream of stories about how we got into game development or something like that. But we decided we're gonna actually do something. AJ does animation and I do sound. and so we're covered for like this animated series. We can totally just work together and get this done. So we started working on it, and we had a lot of ideas, and we wrote a lot of like pieces of scripts and all that stuff. But it was, to be honest, like part of it was that it was too much on AJ and not enough on me. Like AJ would have to do modeling, he would have to rig all the characters, and he would have to do the animation and then bounce everything out, and only then would it really like go to me, and we would have to record voices, so like we would have to do it ourselves or find like somebody who actually is a voice actor or something like that. So a lot of like little things where there was a lot of imbalance with that idea. So we ended up just kind of like scrapping it. Well, we didn't really scrap it, we just kind of like tossed everything aside. Be like, this isn't really what we should be doing right now. What we should do is try and make a game. And so we just decided, and AJ's back.
Hey, buddy.
I'm telling a story about how we got into game development, and you weren't here, so
oh, no.
So you don't get to tell it.
Oh.
And so
Well,
so we started.
What part are we up to?
I'm up to the part where we ditched farce and started working on a game.
Yep.
And so we decided we're gonna make a game, and AJ can animate these characters, and we already had a test character like made and animated and stuff like that. And even textured, I think. And so we were like, okay, well, AJ can do all this animation and modeling and all that stuff, and then I can do all the sound, and then somebody can program it, right? Well, maybe we'll find something. And so basically we were just like, all right, well, I guess we have to figure out this programming thing. And so I had, for a while in high school, I was trying to get into programming, and I had done like BASIC and like GW Basic, Q Basic, all that stuff, all the old school stuff, and so we picked up this language called Dark Basic, which if anyone is familiar with it, it's you can make stuff with it. It's not the best. Not the ideal solution, but this was like fucking 10 years ago or something. So like that Unity did not exist. Let's just say that Unity didn't exist. We didn't have that option. So we used this language called Dark Basic, and just started making a game with it. And I kind of, as much as I could, took the reins on just learning how to code stuff in it. And AJ was also learning at the time too, and so we did as much as we reasonably could with that, and we made this game we started working on this game called Hire Me, and so the way that it worked is at the beginning of the game you chose to play as one of two characters. One of them was AJ and the other was myself. So AJ modeled the both of us and animated us as characters in the game. And I plan on using Dark Basic Engine to make a couple games out of it using C++. I don't know how you're using both Dark Basic and C++.
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna happen.
I think you need to look at your plan again. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm sure what that you're using Dark Basic as a scripting language for your C++ engine. I don't know. I'm really confused about that. Anyway, we made this game called Hire Me. We started working on it. We never finished it, but we got as far as the first stage of it, which is, so in the beginning, what happened is the whole game was about getting a job in the game development industry. So it was pretty meta. We made a game about ourselves trying to get jobs. And so the first thing that happened is your pet, which differed between us. AJ's was his cat, and mine was the 2 chinchillas I had at the time. Your pet would destroy your resume and tear it up and scatter it around. And so you had to go and find the pieces of your resume, which, because it's a video game, they were scattered across rooftops. And so it started off as a platformer where you had to jump across these rooftops to gather the pieces of your resume. And so it went from that. Once you collected all the pieces, it turned into a puzzle game where you had to arrange, like put together like a jigsaw puzzle, where you had to put together the pieces of your resume, and so that you could get it into a single piece, basically like tape it together, because that's what game development companies want to see, a taped together resume. And so that's as far as we got. I started implementing the jigsaw puzzle part of it, where you could drag pieces of the resume around. By the time we had gotten to that point, both of us got jobs in the game development industry, and mine was in Boston, and AJ's was in LA. So we both just instantly, like right from getting part way through this game, got jobs, which was amazing. It was seriously it was the same week, wasn't it? It was within a week of each other.
Within 5 days of each other.
Yeah, within a few days, like we both got jobs. So it was absolutely crazy. And it's a good thing that we both got jobs. It's a really good thing for our careers that we both got jobs, because had we finished the game, the third stage of it was a racing game where once you assembled all the pieces of your resume, you had to drive to this job interview. And so it turned into a racing game, or it would have, it would turn into a racing game. We had to, kind of like almost GTA style. You had a destination, and you have to kind of, weave your way through traffic and all these roads to get to the location of your job interview. And when you got to the job interview, you notice that there are many, many people in front of you in line for this job interview. And so at that point, it would turn into a first-person shooter, and you would have to murder everyone else who was trying to get the job that you were interviewing for.
Take out the competition.
That's right.
Life lessons.
Life lessons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So with everyone else who was trying to get that job dead, you won the game by getting the job by being by virtue of being the only alive person who was interviewing for it.
By getting the job done.
So yeah, you get the job done. So probably good that we never finished that game.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that.
It would have been ready to hire you.
Had we actually finished that game, it sounds like a good idea. When you're like 20 and looking for a job, and have never worked in games before, it's not probably the best idea. I don't recommend it. So to answer on the Ziggy's question, yes, we do have the files. I don't know if we have all of them. We definitely have versions of it, and we probably even have newer, like the most recent code for it somewhere. But we would have to download the compiler, like the actual Dark Basic compiler, to do anything with it. But yeah, like we could totally show that on stream one day, like the little pieces of it that we have. We don't have the first-person shooter part of it or the racing part of it. But yeah, because we never finished the game. So that's the super long answer to that question about how AJ and I got into game development. We both just started making a game, as I recommend everyone do who's trying to get into game development. So basically the moral of my story is, don't wait to get a job at a game development company to be a game developer. Just start making a game and do whatever you have to. Download Dark Basic, download Game Maker if you don't want to learn a real language, and just do it. Just start making a game. So yeah,
RPG Maker though.
We have many old files. I have archived pretty much everything we have done with a fake company known as False Start.
Yep.
P.S. No one is showing their screen on Skype at the moment, which is super unfortunate because I'm busy yapping my face off, and so I'm not doing any code right now.
There you go.
I
guess mine got canceled or something.
Yeah, I think Alex showed his screen to talk about something and then stopped it like a jerk.
Way to go, jerk.
So that's why no one else was showing the screen.
I don't even know you anymore.
No.
That's AJ and my story about game development. Just start making a game with whatever you can.
Yay, games!
That's the way to do it. Yeah, I guess I'll share mine. I wanted to get into game development for pretty much my entire life, actually, since I was like 3 or 4, and and I used to just live at my parents' house. In fact, not really doing much. I used to game concepts and stuff like that, which is pretty useless. But that's what I used to do all the time. I used to kind of make stuff on my own a little bit. I was actually into film, as it turns out. I mean, I was actually studying for film.
Terrible
yeah,
idea.
I know. Well, hence why I'm in the game industry now. But then one day, I met somebody who was in the industry, and they gave me some advice as far as getting in the industry. They said just go to GDC, with the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, and so I used some money out of my college fund, and I moved out there, or I not moved out there, excuse me, I flew out there, and I passed my resume out to just about every single company that was looking for anybody. It was really awkward because I had no experience, and I was walking up to people saying, "Hey, I'm a game designer." They're like, "Wow, what have you designed?" And I said, "Oh, I haven't designed anything yet. I'm from high school." And then they're like, "Ah." You just saw the excitement just drop from their faces. But ultimately, somebody convinced me to stop pulling that shit because that was pretty stupid. And just to apply for an entry-level job, which was QA. So I met somebody over at Darkmoon Studios. They made vampire first-person shooter. Somebody help me. I'm forgetting the name of this right now. High Moon Studios. They made Deadpool recently. There we go.
I worked on that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't work on the game. I just worked on the advertising for it. But whatever.
Yeah, for sure. But somebody Darkwatch, Nightwatch. No, Nightwatch is the movie. Anyway, so they hooked me up with a parent company, Vivendi. And keep in mind, I'd been living in my parents' house 3 years after high school. I never went to college, and I interviewed that weekend that I was out for GDC. I was just visiting, right? And then I got the job at Vivendi, just starting out as a QA tester, and I moved out that weekend. My parents were a little bit surprised. My friends in Arizona also fairly surprised. But I started my new life that weekend, and worked at Vivendi for a few years. Then I moved out to Boston, worked at Harmonix with Joe, and now I'm working up at Other Ocean in Newfoundland. So I basically just go wherever the industry takes me, and that's my story.
Too.
Sweet.
Wait, Newfoundland?
Newfoundland, yeah.
You went there?
No, he's there now.
I live here
at this very moment.
I am streaming from Newfoundland.
I thought you were in Canada. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, that's in Canada, son.
Wait, what? Is it?
Yeah, it's.
I
like
don't know nothing about.
I would like to, yeah.
somewhere
It's
that
important
way.
to note that the American geography education is not awesome.
I don't even know fucking California geography, and I live here.
Saying that Los Angeles is the 12th largest country in the world, I'm pretty sure that's the saying.
Yeah.
I know it's number 2 in syphilis. I know that.
Is that a real thing?
We'll make it to number 1 next year.
Yeah, number one's probably Canada.
I believe in you guys.
Yeah.
You sure it's not? Is it? What do you know? What number 1 is?
I don't know. I assume the bigger one. Whatever
Wait,
the fuck's
you
bigger.
were
Texas,
joking.
probably.
No,
Wow.
I could tell he wasn't joking about that. That's a real thing that he looked
It's
up.
a billboard on fucking Sunset. It's got the California bear on it too. I wish he was sicklier looking.
You fucking you walk out of LAX and you're just like number 2 in syphilis.
No, when you walk
And
out of
you're just
LAX,
like,
I still
wow.
have that fucking billboard for Witcher 3 up.
Oh, that's cool, actually.
They keep that shit in Hollywood. Just so you know.
Mesmeroff.
That's where
I
they think
actually
they get
agree.
number 1 at.
What happened?
Mesmeroff is talking about Blitz Basic. I think we can also. I personally we've used Blitz 3D for many things.
That's what it was. Blitz 3D.
Yeah.
We used
Blitz
that
Basic,
and,
Blitz 3D, all that stuff. It's actually they're good stuff, honestly.
Well, we used that in Torque.
Algebra 2 homework. Just put your questions in chat. I'm a programmer. I know a lot of math.
Guaranteed. I don't
Guaranteed
know.
F.
When was the last time I'm geometry? I don't do algebra.
Honestly, algebra is what you would be using a shit ton of if you get into code. So, so do that homework.
Stay
It's great.
in school,
it's great for
kids.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, algebra is one of the few subjects I used outside of school. It was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. As a designer and as a programmer, algebra is super important. Actually, definitely do that. Have fun with it. Honestly, if you are even interested in programming a little bit, it's just like, make little programs for the problems that you have and stuff like that, and make it. That's why word problems exist, is because it puts context into like boring numbers. And so like if you made this RPG and in your head or start like coding it somehow and put in those, like made the problems out of the things, made like context for the thing there, like that's a super good way to make it fun and make your homework more interesting, and it also brings practical use to that. So yeah, I would definitely recommend just making it fun.
Says that he's like, fun? It can be fun.
It can be.
Oh, hey,
if you
2D
make it
is
fun.
hosting us.
Nice.
Oh, hey, thanks.
Yeah, we should have. If I was actually like near a computer, I know he was streaming earlier. We should have hosted him, and we were hosting Trent even though Trent wasn't on. So felt bad.
We were
about
hosting
that.
Trent all night, actually.
Yeah, we've been hosting Trent for probably like 24 hours straight.
Well, I mean,
but that's I'm the Ziggy. You're absolutely right. But like that's what I'm saying is like, if you take the problems from your algebra homework and give them context in a game somehow, then I would then you can make it fun. You really can, like, and make it more interesting, and you could actually learn a lot from it too. Because honestly, that's the kind of shit. Even for a programming interview, if you go for a job interview for programming, they will have you like write algorithms on a whiteboard. So like that, you're gonna want to know that kind of stuff, and you're gonna want to like try to find some way to make it fun. Because if you're doing any kind of programming, then that will totally happen. You're gonna want to do that. So find a way to make it fun.
Do that.
Find a way to make your homework fun. Make a little program out of it. If I was coding in like middle school and high school, anywhere near seriously as I was right now, I would make a fucking program out of everything, out of every math homework that I ever got, and I would have done much better in school.
All of the maths.
Yeah.
That's yeah, I think that's generally good advice. I was actually failing high school until I took that exact advice. About 10th grade or 11th grade, I'm just like, find a way to make this fun for myself, and then and then I stopped failing. So good general advice.
Yeah. Okay, so on that topic, let's
do math.
For sure, man.
Well, we're gonna do some coding. It's not gonna super involve math, but all right, I'm Ziggy. Yeah, go do that, and have fun. Yeah.
Have a good one, man.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely.
And, come back and chat sometime. So let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the clones to the list of, for anyone who was not here, since our viewer number like doubled in the past 5 minutes. For anyone who's not here, what we're doing is we have this system where you can hit all of these buttons, and you can have a number of required buttons for any given moving platform. So right now you can kind of see in a little window right here. Where is that button? Here's the button. So this button right here can activate stuff, and so I can say when I jump on this button and I push it down, what we're going to do is any of this, we have this trigger button script, any of these objects. So when we push down this button, we're going to activate our spider mouse. And so I'm going to get this animator window out of here. Jesus, it's throwing me off. So here's our spider mouse, and we're going to watch him. We're actually going to turn him around and have him run the other way, because I like to start on the left or on the right side of this level for some reason. So let's say -90. That should rotate him the way I want him. So that looks good. And then we're going to make him go move -3 instead of 3. And so that will make him move to the left instead of the right. And so what we can do is now, and now that we have Spider Mouse in here, here's our Spider Mouse. He's kind of walking in, he's jogging in place, he's treadmilling right now. And when we hit this button, he should start moving, and he does. Ooh, he starts moving to the right though. Why did he do that? I had him go at -3. Let's put it back to 3 and see if we need to fix some kind of code with our Spider Mouse. Oh no, I don't
Look at him
know.
go.
Why does that happen? Why is positive to the left and negatives to the right? That seems wrong.
There he goes.
Oh, I know why. Awesome. So this may actually help you, Alex. This may be easier to do. All of the movement for the Spider Mouse is actually relative to his rotation, his orientation. So he's always going to move forward. So the only way you would have him run backwards is if you put a negative thing there. But like if you have him moving like from right to left, and you want to make him go left to right, you don't have to change the speed. You just turn him around.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
That's cool.
Tog yeah, I thought for some reason I thought that I was just changing the X value on it, and so the negative and positive should go in opposite directions. But that's not the case. I made it totally relative to his orientation, which I didn't know I did that. But I guess I'm just that smart, because I do smart things even when I don't mean to.
And modest.
Wow, absolutely.
Ain't no point in being modest if you're a fucking genius. So, on that note,
Wow.
what we're going to do is we are going to add this clone thingy onto this clone issue. So what we want to do actually is have this not only have a moving object dependent not only on the number of buttons you press or the number of trigger zones you enter, but we're going to have it based on the number of clones that you kill. And so we're going to have you be able to make a list of clones that have to be dead in order for you to progress to a certain point. And the way that we do that, at first I was going to do it by this is active, but I worry that could be problematic, because we may be deactivating them. Active and inactive. The is active boolean basically decides whether or not the character can be controlled and move around. The same thing is on the main character. For things like, for the times where you want to disable the controls on the character when there's an animation that plays or something like that, for instance the mic drop, if anyone here saw that, you can drop down onto a platform and Spaceman Mike, who's our main character, will do this animation where he falls down and kind of like picks himself back up. And so for that amount of time, we don't want you to be able to be moving the character back and forth, because the animation is playing and he'll just look like he's skating around while doing this animation. So we want to disable that. So that is active toggle can be an issue for that. So we don't want to. So we probably don't want to use that. The safer thing to do will just be to have a separate boolean to say whether he's dead or not. And we apparently already have that. Great. We're just going to go ahead and make that public. And for anyone who does not know this handy thing, public, you can also hide things that are public. So I can say hide in inspector, and so even though it's public, it won't show up in Unity's inspector. So just in case you don't want to have, you don't want to like confuse, like say the designer or whoever is, who's ever actually implementing these things. If they have a checkbox called is dead, they're going to be like, oh well, what happens if I just check this? And you don't actually want that to happen. The only reason you have it public is so that other scripts can access that variable, which is exactly what we're going to do. So now that we have this public boolean is dead, let's just make sure we're actually like doing something with it. So is dead, spawner clone died, spawner reset camera. Spawner reset camera. Let's look at that, because I think actually this may answer your question, Alex. Your one bug. So I'm resetting the camera whenever a clone dies automatically. Let's just go ahead and look at that clone spawner and see what the reset camera does. Yep, it just, no matter what, when a clone dies, it just resets the camera. So we, I guess, don't want that.
Nah.
I'm assuming that we only want that if the camera is on that clone that died.
Yes, correct.
So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, wait, spawner, reset camera, kill character is dead. Reset camera, yes, we don't want to do that. We actually want to reset the camera. Level equals player object. Let's just get rid of that. So resetting the camera only when the character dies. Sorry, I have not been keeping up on chat. If you're not using namespaces, you can replace hide inspector public with internal. We're not using namespaces. I've never seen internal. Are you saying that you do public internal or that you just do internal? Let's see what internal. Internal is indeed the keyword. Internal bool dick butts.
Dick butts.
We spend a lot of my unit. That's great. That is awesome. Thank you. I would love all of the Unity knowledge. I've been working in Unity for a long time, and I know a few things, but I'm certainly not the. Let's see. Internal is just like public or private. It replaces one of those. It sounds though like internal would mean that it would be private. Internal sounds like it would be private, but maybe in the inspector. Yeah, well, we're going to find out what it says about internal dick butts. So let's see what happens if we have a clone. Where's my...
Alright. CHP Ranger is taking off, so... have a good one. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
If you're not already following, you should do so and hang out again.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Now, where is... So do we have dick butts on here? Where would it be? It would be... Below is dead. Let's not do that. What is hovering? Is hovering... Spawner is dead. So yeah, it looks like okay, so internal does not show it in the inspector, which should mean that I can access dick butts from the plat. I can say let's just get this out of the way also. Get component, get hash code. Don't do that. Don't get hash code. Get Oh, temp activate. I used the wrong temp obj dot get component clone control. Whoops. Move this over here. Okay, so if we have the clone control, we're going to want to. This is bound for disaster. And say that if temp obj get component clone control dot dick butts. Okay, so that is yeah, that is correct. So yeah, good looking out on that one. That's really handy to know. So if you use the internal keyword, then you don't have to do the hide and inspector. So let's go ahead and do that for our public. So we want to do the internal, and we're just going to erase dick butts because I keep keep my code limited to only having comments that has things like dick butts in it. I try not to have variables for that. So let's see. So what we're gonna do is check if this bro man is dead. So what we're gonna do is dead.
Alright.
And if he is, then we're gonna have temp check equal true. Actually, we gotta say if he's not dead, right? This is some sad. Let's say false, and then say if it's not. The naming convention here is not super great. It's always bad when you look at something that you did like months ago and you're like, I don't know what this means. It's always a bad sign.
What the hell is this variable? Moo?
Yeah. Well, I'm just doing it in a kind of goofy way where I default the temp check to true, and then only if like one of any number of things is the case, then I flip it back to false. So it's kind of just the way to make sure that if something has like multiple components on it, like if you have a trigger zone and a clone control and a trigger button, it makes it so that if any one of those things has not been activated, then then it will switch that thing to false and say that like, hey, you need to fix your shit. What the hell? There we go. Jesus.
Broseph, I just finished cleaning this up, so it's nice, clean asset. And, I baked it out at frame 1, so all of this stuff is at frame 1 because I figured you were going to use this as an asset instead of using the same frame range as the mic clones. Unless you want it to be at the same frame range. Up to you. What do you want?
I don't think the range doesn't matter because we're gonna have to set it. Like I'm gonna have to make an animation state for it, and it's just
you're gonna have to set it manually anyway, right?
Yeah. It's gonna, in the end, it's gonna be accessed by name and not by and not by the frame range. So.
Word. Okay. Well, then
Let's
it's doing the same exact animation, only this time, I took it off of the geo, and that's why you can actually see the glass in the background now, which I think is kind of cool. It gives it that like riding on rails feel. I stopped it at the 2 sets of nubs in the back, and I am going to and then if you look at the hierarchy, like we got the geo all out there, and then I did it the same way as the mic where it's got a skeleton group as well. So that's where you'll find your skeleton if you need to put it on anything, like if you want to attach some shit to the glass or something. That's where you'll find that. But I'm going to export this and give it out to you right now.
Cool.
I think it's ready for publish.
Sounds good. I'm going to test out this feature real quick.
Do it.
So this clone thing should be ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to add a clone into here, and we're going to have a moving platform that controls said clone. We're going to disable Spider Mouse for the time being so that he doesn't confuse the issue here. So we're going to take our button and we're going to remove Spider Mouse from our button. We're going to instead add a moving platform. So just to make this easier, I'm going to duplicate this guy and call this moving plat. So moving plat's gonna have this guy right here. We're gonna add a thing. We're gonna use the add curve. It's gonna have me save an animation, and that animation is gonna have to go into assets, animations. Don't use this bullshit anim. We're going to animate the transform, the position, in fact. And so all we're going to do is just animate the X position on here. So curves, check our X position, and we're just going to animated. What is your deal? Should be seeing it move when I do this. Yeah, it's just moving very, very slightly. So I'm gonna have to move it a lot. That's Jesus. That's still not a lot. All right, come on, come on, motherfucker, work with me here. Move it a lot. Oh, that's not good. Just gonna go from here all the way to somewhere over there. So that looks good. Check the inspector here. We're going to take the animation.
Weird.
Don't use this bullshit as the animation clip. It's not going to play automatically. It's a terrible idea. Don't use this animation. We're going to ping pong it. And so now what we do is we take our moving plat, we take our button, and in the inspector we drag our moving plat into the activate objects. And so what this will mean is that when we hit our button, it will activate our moving platform. So this is just to test out the basic functionality. So when I jump on a button, it's not activate. Oh, you know why? Because I'm an idiot and I didn't put a moving platform on it. So remove component, we're going to add the moving plat. Let's see, summon death. I think that's all fine. We're going to tag it as moving plat just because we can. Now it should do stuff, but it's still not doing stuff. Override activate has no receiver, which it kind of should maybe. Moving plat has trigger button. Uh-oh, did I swap these by accident? Moving plat, that's correct. Has animation. What did I just put the moving? Alright. Guess we're gonna solve that mystery when we go back to watch this stream. What the hell I just put the moving platform on, because I didn't put it on the moving platform. That's fun. Let's
Maybe
do this correctly now.
Jump.
Let's do it correctly. So now we can see, whoa. So now our moving platform is working. It kind of just took me along for the ride right when I hit it. So now that works, we're gonna bring two buttons into this scenario and make it so that you have to use two buttons. So I'm gonna put this guy over here. We're gonna duplicate this button, and we're gonna have this guy over here, so that you're actually gonna have to step on this. So we're gonna untag this as a moving platform because I don't trust it.
That's what I just did. I just double checked it and the FBX had a problem, so now it works.
Moving platform is pushing you 1 pixel to the side when it changes direction. Are you saying that it does that every time? Oh, well, it's not tagged as a moving platform anymore, so you'll just have to deal with it. It's not really the point, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, now I'm forgetting if there were any issues with that. Whatever. Alex doesn't run anything, I assume. So if you untag something as a moving platform, you won't move with it. But I think you do that to avoid jumping on something and automatically having it move, right?
Sorry, to confirm, when I tag something as a moving platform, that means that I do want to move with it.
Right, but also that when you step on it, it activates, right? Isn't that also a thing?
We don't want to step on things to activate them.
Ever?
I would say in the majority of instances the answer is no. If we do want to enable that functionality, and I do know that I could use it during the Kaiser levels especially, I would recommend, I would say we might want to consider making it a Boolean if we decide to keep the functionality.
Yeah, because I know we had it in originally.
Yeah, we did have it in originally, but yeah, I actually haven't used that since the original game. So
sweet. So anyway, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this button over here, We're going to add both of these as completion objects for, we're going to call this button 2. Shit, what did I just do? Button 2. We are going to make both of these buttons required objects to be hit for this moving plat to activate. So we go into our inspector. We have, see, here's our completion objects. They're 0, which means that anytime you send an activate message, it just starts moving. There are no requirements for this. Now we're going to add requirements by making both of these buttons required in order for you to do this. So what we'll do is we'll just say, here's button number 1. Now before, you know that this would just start moving this platform all of a sudden. It's not the case now, because what we're going to do is wait till both of them are pushed down. And to prove that this is the case, we will also do this in the reverse order, where we're going to do number 1 here, which does nothing until we hit number 2. Whee! Alright, so that works. What we need to do now is have a number of clones that are required to die. Actually, here's the thing, Alex. Right now, in the current implementation, you can't do that. Because the clones don't exist yet. Like, because we're spawning them in real time, so you can't drag a clone into the required objects.
Can I drag the clone spawner into the required objects? Therefore...
Sure. That's, But here's the thing. Yes, you can, but the thing is we're doing the clones differently now, so it would be a total waste for me to implement that and then undo it and do it the real way. So we're going to need to start doing it the real way.
Okay.
At some point.
Gotcha.
Clone tube.
So what is your recommendation then?
Well, here's the thing. Once I implement the real way to do clones, we're going to have to switch all those levels. And you're going to have to actually drag in the clone tube and the clone to where you want it to be. We'll make a prefab for the clone with the clone tube with the clone inside of it, so that you can just drag that wherever you want it to be, and that will be the object that you then activate.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for now, if we want, like, I can just, I can set it to animate automatically, so we just have the framework for the level in place, and then I can just finish it up once we get the new functionality. Because I know we don't want to code, we don't want to do code that we're not going to use.
Yeah, but let me look at this real quick. Sure. Because I think that... Because I know that when the clone dies, I send a message to so I send a message to the spawner already. That's just in case we want to do the reset button thing. So why is my question not showing up? I don't know. Head clot, what question? Do we have to go back and look at chat? What question you asked? I don't see anything. Did it have a lot of curse words? Because that's Twitch likes to.
How the fuck do you
Twitch likes to censor.
Fuck.
Twitch likes to censor that. But you're welcome to try and ask it again if Twitch wants to push it through. Be happy to answer it.
Hit your question limit.
Yeah. God, could you imagine if you had that? So what I'm just going to do is say, fuck it, we're going to add the clone spawner as another thing, and all we have to do, really, is just keep a clone died equals false. So we're just going to keep a boolean on our clone spawner as well, and if we get the message that the clone died, then we can just toggle that little boolean and just say that's true. The trick is that reset now will have to also say clone died equals false, just to make sure we're reset compatible. That is a question, Rico724, you smart ass. Oh, that's a question for AJ.
What?
Question for you in chat.
Okay.
My LT is like the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard. Don't they give you poly caps on that?
Yeah, there's polycaps. No, I'm using the full version of Maya. It was purchased for me by company while I was working freelance, so it is the legit copy. But Maya LT does have a lot of good features. I mean, the polycaps is good for games though, because I mean, if you look at this, Chris, I mean, just here.
But can't you not even like fucking? I know you could do cool shit with low poly.
But this, I mean, look at how low poly this is.
My biggest problem with Maya LT is that you can't Python script in it.
Fact.
That immediately makes me go, no, this bullshit. It's worthless. I hate it.
Don't they make it so? Is it? Well, I know that's the issue with some of those like free programs made from bigger programs too. But don't they like your save files are only openable in that kind of shit? Because I know Maya for a fact that if you have like a student license, you can only open that shit on other student licensed Maya stuff.
No, you can open it in the full version of Maya, but it comes up and says this was made using a student version of Maya for everything later. Because I worked on a side.
I've had files at work from people that have brought shit in. You might be able to look at it, but you can't do shit with it.
No, you can do stuff with it. No, you can absolutely do stuff with it, especially if you reference it in. Because I've worked on a side project where this guy, the rigger, was doing stuff in the student version, and then we were using the full version to obviously light and render it, and animate it. And when I was doing the animations, every single time I opened it, like if I opened it and it had two characters in it, and both of them were made in the student version, it would come up with two pop-ups. It would be like, hi, this was made in the student version. Hi, this was made in the student version. And you're just like, fuck you, go away.
This was at a production place? Where was this at?
No. This was on side project.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, if you're rigging in fucking some school version and you're not in a school.
No, I didn't rig it. They hired a student to rig it. So.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Eesh.
Yeah, which basically means I ended up having to re-rig it. But
yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, it was pretty balls.
Nothing wrong with hiring students, but if you're going to be using some assets like that,
this was
right. It's a problem. It's a problem if you give something to a student that then somebody who is a professional then has to work with it. That's
absolutely agree with that.
Huge problem.
Yeah, it was a pretty big problem. So I mean, it was like, oh, come on, man! Like every time I opened it, it would come up and tell me that it was originally created.
That's okay. Awesome. So let's test our little functionality now. So we should have our clone spawner thing in. So what we can do now is take this, change this so that we have no completion objects for the time being. We have one spawner, which is right here. So this is going to spawn a clone. So we're going to use this button actually. What do we need to do? Here's the tricky part, Alex. I don't know if you've gone over this. The order. What is the order here? Because what would have to happen is you'd have to kill the clones and then enter the trigger zone or hit the button. But you could theoretically hit the button first, and then it would do nothing, and then the clones would die, and we don't like re-trigger the activate message. Like, how would that work?
I'm not sure that I'm following. Why would you hit a button after killing the clones?
Or enter a trigger zone, the thing that you're talking about with the moving platform.
Sure. I mean, ideally, so let's just say, so the order of things, like in the level I'm crafting right now. So basically, player enters level, player touches button, which in turn creates clones. Mm-hmm. So afterwards, the clones have appeared. Player kills X number of clones. Once clone death requirement has been met, moving platform automatically moves.
Okay, so this is completely different from the completion objects then. Like, do you understand that?
I'm not sure if I do.
So completion objects, the way they work is that once you hit a button or enter a trigger zone, it sends the activate message, but then the thing that receives the activate message checks if you have completed all those completion objects. And if you have not, then it doesn't activate. So this is completely different.
Okay, gotcha. Well, then what is your recommendation then?
To not do things completely wrong every time we add a new feature.
I see.
But if I had to do a real recommendation, fuck, I don't know. would it be enough to... We have a clone death requirement for certain things, and now I don't remember even what that's for. Oh, it's for portals, right? So, would it be enough to just have a number of clones that have died in that room?
No, I don't think so. And actually, I wasn't. I didn't appreciate that was the. I'll tell you why in just a moment. I didn't appreciate that was the way it was implemented to make a portal work. Yeah, like for example, the room I'm crafting right now, there's a bunch of clones that are present in the room, and you got to figure out how to murder them all. And for every clone you kill, one more room at the bottom of the screen. Like the clones are at the top of the screen, and the rooms that you're trying to get to are at the bottom of the screen. So for every clone you kill, every clone is linked directly to a moving platform, so to speak. Or I mean that would be ideal. Like every clone is linked directly to a route. That's what I'm trying to say at a high level. So yeah.
I'm sorry, it's actually a trigger zone, not a portal. So for a trigger zone, you can have a number. There's a. See if it exists anywhere else. No, that's the only place. So for a trigger zone, there is a. There's a thing that says clone deaths required. There's a variable for that. So you can make it so that you have to kill a certain number of clones to activate a trigger zone.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, I mean, I suppose. I could do it a very hacky way.
Yes. Okay,
I mean, if I just make the trigger zone the size of the entire room, therefore the player's already in it. Once the clone dies, like at the top of the screen, once clone A dies, activates trigger point A, which the player's already in, thus opening up moving platform A. I mean, it's a little hacky. I don't know if there's a better way, but that could work. I mean, if need be.
No, this is still... Because, like, again, you would have to kill everybody and then enter the trigger zone. You can't just... It doesn't just say, okay, you entered this, so I'm going to wait until you've killed a certain number of clones. Like, that's not how it works.
But just to confirm, so if the player is in the trigger zone, like, just to make sure I understand how a check is made, if the player, let's just say I make a trigger zone the size of the entire room, right? Is a check made like every time the player moves within the trigger zone, or does the player have to leave the trigger zone and then get back into the trigger zone for the trigger zone check to be made again?
It's technically on enter, so that they would have to actually enter it and not already be inside of it.
Okay, gotcha.
So I mean, the easiest thing is going to be to just to put the feature into the moving platform to do this check, because any other way is going to be super hacky.
Gotcha.
To be honest. So let's just remove this. This is worthless. So we're just going to have to check clones. So we're basically going to do kind of the same thing, but we're going to check the clones instead, and we're going to have to do it every frame instead of just doing the check when you go to activate the thing. So let's do that. And actually, the funny thing is, this will be the only thing in the update function for moving platforms. Moving platforms do nothing at all until it gets an activate message, which is kind of the default behavior, because that's what they're supposed to do. So we don't need to, like, we shouldn't, you know, for the most part, we're not doing something with a platform until it moves. It doesn't have any AI, quote unquote, so to speak, except for being activated by a trigger or a button.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look through. So let's add this functionality now. So we have, so instead of completion objects, we're actually going to need a number of clone deaths. So we're going to add this public game object array for, should I call it clone deaths required? Is that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's Okay, so this is a game object instead of an integer, which is the trigger zone clone deaths required. So hopefully it will make enough sense that those are very different things. When a clone death can recheck and have the trigger enter its own. Recheck, activate, trigger, enter its. To answer your question, Cybertech, yes, technically, but here's the thing. So incrementing a variable, we already do that. We already have a number of clone deaths that happen in a room, and so we can access that variable at any time. The tricky part is that the only real link that we have is that the moving plat itself checks that the moving plat itself waits for an activation message at some point, and so it would have to send the whole. And so let's put it this way: the moving platform knows what its required objects are. Those required objects do not know that they are connected to a moving platform. It's kind of a one-way street. So the only way to really catch that is to like send a message that goes through the whole room, and we can't really send an activate message to the whole room every time a clone dies, because then it would activate stuff that we don't want to actually activate at that time. It's like very targeted. So like the easiest thing to do is just to say is to keep this running tab of clone deaths required, and well, I don't know. Now you're making me rethink this.
Or Joe.
The clone control itself sends a message to its spawner that says that the clone died. We can't necessarily target the specific moving platforms that it will require, because sometimes there will be no moving platforms. In fact, most of the time there will be no moving platforms that are connected to it. So what we could do is send a message to the whole room that a clone died, which is kind of a brute force way of doing it, but I guess I could say that I like that solution better, since I won't have to add AI to the moving platform itself. So I really don't want to have to update more things than are absolutely required. So I think maybe I'll just do it that way. If I send a message to the whole room that a clone died, then at that point, if a moving platform has requirements, we can, as an using event handler, have the clones fire the event. Yeah, so for instance, the clone right now, when the clone dies, it knows the object that spawned it, and so it sends a message to that spawner specifically that clone just died. And so what we can do instead is have it just send that message to the entire room, and so that will update. So yeah, it's basically having an event handler for that. That's the way that we do saving the room and resetting it when you die and all that stuff. All that stuff is through these broadcast messages for the entire room, and every object type has its own way of dealing with what that means for that object. So in this case, what we can do is, man, one day.
Oh my god!
That's enough of that.
Yeah, what the hell?
Of that.
Concentrating, man. What the hell?
Let's run the whole stream. I'm sorry.
So
as long as you know.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll just try sending the message to the whole room that the clone died, and
Hello.
why can't you send a message just to things that care about it, like a new script only on certain objects or using inheritance? I mean, we don't really use inheritance. If you use inheritance, then inheritance is the antithesis to a component-based system. So we're really using component-based systems because, I mean, that's what Unity uses, and that's the way that, for the most part, you learn to do things in Unity. We can broadcast a message to the entire room, and only the things that care about that message will then do anything, but technically you're broadcasting a message to every object. The reason that we can't necessarily target things is because, once again, it's kind of a one-way street, where a platform has this list of objects that are required to complete it, but those objects that this platform requires don't have access directly to whatever don't have access to the moving platform that requires its death. So it's like a one-way street. So in order to actually try and do anything that goes the opposite way, I'd have to, send a message to the objects, to all of the objects that it requires, to then also have access to the platform itself. And that's kind of a pain in the ass, and we don't need to really do that. So the broadcast message is kind of a brute force way. And the other thing is that, the other reason for it is that it's much more future-proof, for lack of a better term, in that if we then need other objects in the future to take that clone died message, we already have it hooked up so that every time a clone dies, it's sending a message to the entire room. And so let's say, right now we're doing moving platforms that will check, if a clone died, let me check if all my requirements have been met for that event, and then activate the moving platform. Let's say in the future we want a similar thing to happen for a spawner. Let's say that you have to kill a certain number, you have to kill very particular clones to activate like another spawner at the end of the level, and that it won't activate unless you have killed all the clones. All we would have to do then is add a clone died function to that spawner and do what we want to do on clone death, and then you're done. Like, it's much more flexible doing it this way, I think. If anyone disagrees, then they can fucking write this game, whatever, it's fine.
Damn.
Keep it real. We keep it real here.
Damn.
Alright, so clone control's got a lot of shit going on. Alright. Is the spawner static? The spawner's not static if it's the way that I'm thinking of. If you're using static in the same way that I am. Spawner is not. It's not like a static object, no. Almost nothing really. We have a couple of static variables that control the entire game, but nothing is static. Nothing else is static in this game. Not even the character itself. We actually, when you die, we rip the whole character into pieces. So that when you die, what we're doing is actually we're just deleting the character entirely and spawning a brand new one. So the character itself isn't even static. So we can't really rely on anything like that. So in the second game world, not moving accessible. I suppose you could say it is static in the game world. Like it is, it's in the. It's a part of the scene, and it is child to the root room object. So it's not that the spawner can't know about the platform in any way. It's just that there's no direct link between them. There's a link that the moving platform has to access all of its required objects, but those required objects don't necessarily know that they are required objects for a platform. So there's no way to say like, oh, okay, well, if I have this clone, what platforms am I going to activate? Like, it doesn't know that, I would have to specifically add those things to each clone, and then that would get just super messy. The way that it's set up now is for the reason of design, where Alex can go into a moving platform and say, I want this character, this clone, and this clone to die in order to activate this moving platform. So that's why it's done in that direction. The reverse would be much more confusing if you had a clone and say, okay, well, I'm going to activate and go to each clone and then say, I'm going to activate this one platform. That if I did it that way, then yes, each clone would have access to the platform, but from a design perspective, that's a super janky way to do it, and that would just get confusing.
Janky.
Word.
It is overkill for this situation. Again, it is future-proof. It's a super brute force way of doing things, but it's very future-proof, and honestly, it's not like we're not doing anything of the nature of like broadcasting. We're not broadcasting things every frame or anything like that. These are for super like global room objects, you know, like when you go to save a room, it has to save every object in there, and so we don't want this method of going through and explicitly calling each component save function. That would be a whole bunch of code that just all it does is broadcast a message. So yeah, it's kind of the brute force and easy way to do things, but there are certain cases which it is useful, and I personally believe that this is one of them.
I may have to drop out of the stream for like 5 minutes
Oh
or so.
my
Jesus
God.
Christ.
What the
Or
fuck?
it could be close to 15. I'm sorry.
I don't even know you.
I'll be back.
Jeez.
I'll be back.
Ask us to see them. So I assume that that by that you mean you want to see the player deaths, and so I would be more than happy to show you them. Why is my Twitch like freaking out?
What's wrong with
That's
it?
unfortunate. I'm like not able to scroll in the screen. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
I'll tell you what.
Freaking out.
In fucking the Twitch window.
Yeah, like I can't scroll down to where it to like our FAQ. I'm just gonna try
Oh,
to,
hang on.
I'm just
Let me
gonna
try.
reload the whole fucking page.
No, I can't do it either.
Yeah, that's the same here.
Yeah, I feel like Twitch
What
must
the
have
fuck?
fucking flipped out. I had to reload the whole page to do it.
Oh,
Dude.
wait. Oh, what the fuck?
Okay, so yes. So yeah, let's well yeah, I'll show you some deaths. I'd be glad to.
Show you the shit
I've
out of
been-
that's.
Yeah. I've been yapping my face off for so long that yeah, let's
You're fucking schooling me.
be
I haven't been paying attention.
as you shouldn't.
No, I'm focused. Fuck. I'm making the control room.
Yes, what's up? I made some of those TV monitors earlier.
These ones, the big blue ones.
Yes.
What?
But
Give me.
You should make some too.
Oh, okay. I'll make a bunch.
Also, is Mur around? Maybe.
No, she went out shopping.
Ah,
Ooh,
shit.
What compiler errors do I have? Oh, I didn't finish what I was working on.
Emma earlier, because I want to get those like blue things in the background there, those little grid johns.
Yeah.
Wondering if she can make me a tileable version of those.
Come on, Unity, you
Oh, like a texture?
dickhole.
Yeah, but like infinitely tileable.
Well, yeah, that would be a
What's the
texture.
problem? Clone
yeah.
control.
Mm-hmm.
159. Shit.
Shit.
Shit. 147, 156. Fuck, now it's forcing me to actually find how the fuck you show, well, it's in here somewhere. How do you show goddamn line numbers in Visual Studio? I feel like I had it before, and now it's gone.
Oh, Joe, check this out. I wanted to show you the different. I found a neat way to get not necessarily perspective, but at least all of the stuff that's neat in this concept art into the shot.
I will check that out 1 second. I need to unbreak the game first.
Oh, word.
Show line numbers. Show line numbers. Tell me. It's in all languages text editor. That's why it's in text editor. Of course, that's the first place you look. General, all languages. General. Hide advanced members.
Nylox says options.
Yeah, I knew it was in options. I was actually looking under environment, which, would make sense. This is the GUI. There it is. Yay! The world is saved.
What?
Or at least the game. Okay, 156. Let's go to 156. I half finished something, and then it's giving me shit about this. Why? Oh, that's why. I fucking deleted a closing parenthesis, and it did not like that even a little bit.
Not even a small.
But now there's other. Jesus fucking. Damn it. 182. Now give me shit about 182. Oh, I apparently deleted a bunch of these. That's not good. I was going through trying to. Oh, there we go. Okay, it was just those two.
You got a second look at this boy?
Ah, yes. Thank you, Alex. Yeah. Hold on. Fuck. Doing things. What am I looking at?
So this is the control room, and one thing that I was doing was I started modeling it with the intent of getting this kind of this was her concept art, which I may want to go back and look to make sure that I have the proper scaling, because I think hers is actually wider than this. But one of the things that she has is that she drew in perspective.
Right.
So you can see the floor.
Yep.
And I think that floor adds a shit ton to the scene, but we don't actually see the floor because we're orthographic. Most of her concepts have been in perspective, and honestly, if we were in perspective, it'd solve a lot of problems, but it would also cause more problems. But I also just found maybe a way to just make it look purty, which would be to do something similar to this. So, whereas this would be the 0 is right here, this would be like the runway, if you can see.
Oh.
See what I mean? So I got like a little lift here, and then it goes up into there. So I'm basically doing like kind of a forced perspective, but making it. I'm basically just cheating the perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I'm also wondering? If instead of that bottom thing that you have there, if we just had, see if I can explain this properly. Imagine that we had an invisible floor that was halfway up that ramp. And so it would actually kind of look like you were in the middle of that floor area.
That's a neat idea.
That may work. It may also look super goofy. I don't know.
So you're talking
imagine put like an invisible box like midway through that ramp, and that would be what the character's actually standing on.
That's kind of what I did if I were to take, if I were to actually just do this, and do something like this. That's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, but that's extra
so it'd be
modeling.
Like that.
Yeah, but what we would just have the normal ramp, and then the Unity would just have the collision boxes for standing on it.
Yeah, he's talking about you'd be halfway up the ramp. You'd literally be just floating.
Right, which is kind of what this is, but this is like actually modeling the whole thing, whereas we don't really need to model the whole thing. We just need the one ramp. and
Yeah.
and
Well,
just use
this
that.
this right here, like if you can see the grid, you can see the grid here. This is where Mike usually is right here on 0.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just gave him like a little runway and then some force perspective. But
Right. Right, but the weird part about that is Mike would be walking at the bottom of that perspective floor.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's something to super experiment with. I would love to experiment with that. That sounds like it would be awesome.
Hey, we could play with it, get it kind of artsy.
Yeah.
Cool.
See how that, like, if you're gonna test it in here, make half of it just straight flat black, and to see how well it blends with the isometric camera and shit.
To answer Nilox, I have heard of Earlicht, and in fact, I've used it to a small degree. I actually made a model viewer in it before, and we were playing around with it a bit. It was going to be an option. I like it. There are things that I really like about it. I really like that it has no... This sounds weird coming from an audio engineer probably, but I like that it has no audio features. And the reason that I like that is because I would much rather a 3D engine just do 3D graphics, and then I could put whatever audio engine I want into it. And that's really easy to do with Earlicht because it has 0 audio features. It doesn't touch the stuff. So if you made a game with Earlicht, you could then plug in Fmod, and that would be a pretty easy integration, and then you just wouldn't have to worry about it from there on. It would be super easy to just program all the stuff that you want. When you're doing something like in Unity or say Unreal or anything like that, if you want to put in any kind of audio engine, you have to override all of the audio features in that. I've seen Fmod, both Fmod and Wise integrated with Unity, and you have to turn off all of the Unity audio features in order to do it. And then you have to write all these custom scripts to handle all of the Fmod and Wise implementation, which is super pain in the ass, right? Like that's kind of annoying. As an audio engineer, maybe this is just as an audio engineer, but if you're making a horror game and it has no sound, it's not going to be super effective. Of all of the game types in the world, horror is the one that requires the most audio trickery, because like if you play any scary game with the sound off, just do it. Try it one time.
Not scary.
It is not even a little bit scary.
Yeah.
This is Unity 4 to answer Hiroshoy. So recommend audio engine for it. I would recommend Fmod. Honestly, it's super easy to just get up and running. You import a single header file, and then you initialize the Fmod audio system with like a single function call, and you can specify a lot of parameters in that. You can specify the sampling rate that you want to run it at and all that kind of stuff. It's super fast to get up and running, and is much more efficient. And you can also use the Fmod designer. The newest version of Fmod is Fmod Studio, and you can use the older one, which was there was Fmod EX and Fmod Designer, all that stuff, the older stuff. I would just grab the newest one, use Fmod Studio. You have much more options, and you can either directly call things in code for audio stuff, or you can use the designer and really kind of tweak everything that you want in that, and really play around with it and preview all of your audio stuff before you even get it into the game. And then if you do it that way, all you have to do are call these really quick Fmod audio events to make all that stuff happen. So it's super easy on the programming side as well. Like once you initialize, then you just start calling events, and if you have a separate person that's doing audio stuff, they can just work in the Fmod Studio in the designer app, and then just basically give you the names of the events to call. So super handy. I would totally recommend doing that. For like, if you had Irrelict and Fmod, you'd be making the game that I was trying to make like 5 years ago, you know. But you'll probably actually get much farther than I did. So yeah, I would super recommend that. Yes, it is. Fmod Studio is compatible with Unity 3D. You can download. What you have to do is you have to download Fmod, and then there's a Unity package that they offer. It's on the download section, and I think I can. Let me just see if I can toss up a link real quick. So you download Fmod. They have packages for the integration for Unity. Let's see. Yeah. So if you go to this little place right here, you can see you can download the Fmod Studio, like the actual designer app. You can download the SDK for the code end of it, and then under the Fmod, it's like the fourth category down, Fmod Studio Unity integration. It's just a Unity package. You import that into there, and then, you know, toss your own assets in and all that stuff, and you're pretty much good to go. I would definitely recommend that. It will give you much more flexibility than Unity itself will, than the Unity features. Sorry, I just put up my windows. But so the only thing about that is that once Unity 5 comes out, half of that stuff is going to be irrelevant, because they're actually integrating real audio features into Unity. They're adding a real mixer. The only thing they're not doing are the things like random containers, random events, like random sound generation, all that kind of stuff. They're adding a synth or two in there. Like, they're adding like one or two in there, which is neat.
And a mix.
So yeah, you could totally do that. If you're working on a long-term game, I would honestly wait for Unity 5. But if you're doing something that's like, you just want to get something up and running super fast, and you want to really use advanced audio features with it, then sure, go ahead and import Fmod into it. So sweet, yeah, you're welcome. I love answering questions, as evidenced by the fact that I was asked to show deaths like 5 hours ago, and I haven't gotten to it yet because I've been answering questions. But I will get to that, I promise. And yes, thanks for following. That's awesome. I love the more people chatting, the better. Then I get to lose my voice every other day when we do this.
Yeah, we do.
Joe Kelly, your heart's as big as your beard.
Wow. I'm glad we have that on record. Let's see.
It's documented.
Yeah, Headclock kind of took care of that. I don't think there's not a date for Unity 5 to be released yet, but boy, am I going to be counting down the days when it is. Like, that's when we're seriously looking into getting pro, is when 5 comes out, and we have many, many more options to do.
Yeah.
Man, and yeah,
it's going to be the shit.
Yeah, the lighting, rendering, all that kind of stuff. The glow effects that we'll have for everything. It's going to be a fucking dream come true. I'm excited. We're going to have post-procs all over the place. Okay, so to deaths. Let's check a few of those out. So right now, I think this is a portal, right? It's a portal and not it's a tag. It's tagged as unstable energy. So this is gonna kill me right when I jump into it. All they say is soon. Yeah, it'll probably, at this point, it'll probably be 2015. They're not gonna release it within a month and a half. They would announce it and try to build up some more thing. I assume by then it's gonna have to be next year. Okay, so to show you this awesome death system that we have, it's super dynamic. This right here, this white space, this white box, is what we call unstable energy, and the character is divided up into, I keep forgetting to look up the exact number, but I'm pretty sure it's 76 pieces. I can double check it real quick with the player controls script. 72. characters in 72 pieces that can fly off individually, become rigid bodies. And Headcloth, yeah, go ahead. We don't. I'm fairly certain that we don't restrict links. Like if it becomes problematic, we may have to, but I'm pretty sure we're not doing it right now. So.
We don't really have a reason to. Nobody's really been.
Right. I've still wanted to look in. You can opt out of the word censoring that Twitch does by default as well, and I've been meaning to do that, but we'll do it sometime. But if you, let me know if you have an issue posting it, and we'll figure it out. So this unstable energy, what this does is this takes any piece of this character that enters unstable energy will immediately fly off. It will kill the character. He'll ragdoll. And I just realized I am showing AJ's screen bigger than my own, so we'll just switch back over and show this. So
watch me make some pipes.
Yeah, I'd love to watch you lay pipes.
Always laying pipe.
Laying pipes,
my favorite thing.
You know how
okay, Headcloth. So I see that link. Hopefully, everybody else does. Let me know if you do not see that link.
Oh, I see it.
Because I think it always shows up for mods.
Oh. Okay.
So that they can kind of allow or block it.
Right.
So,
mod?
I don't know if you are.
I can see a link.
Okay. Actually, if you want,
I
can do that. I should be able to do this, right?
Why is Chris a mod?
He's not right now, but I'm going to mod him right now. I think I just did. Yes, I have added Bob Digital moderator. So there you go. I think, AJ, you might want to check this. I think now that you are a mod, you should be able to mod people. So you can double check that if you want.
I don't even know how to do that.
Back to this. Finally, we're going to show some deaths. So all these pieces are just going to fly off of me, and I'm just going to, it kind of shreds you, and you die, you explode. So you can jump in really quick and just get like a kind of almost a mushroom cloud type explosion with it. Just kind of shoots everywhere, and each of those becomes its own physics object, and the rest of you ragdolls. So you can see that left half of me kind of just got chopped off, and so I just ragdolled the rest of the way. And you can do it like super slow, like you can kind of nudge in here and just took off my hand and really nothing else. But if you get it going really good, I think that was just my foot. If you get it going good enough, you can kind of just slowly, chip your way into it. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I'm wondering, that one was great. Do you have any of those old gift saves where he, because there was that glitch at one point where he still hangs on by his foot? Do you have any of those saved?
Alex, I asked Alex to upload all of the gifts that he has, so they're in our Dropbox. So
that's fucking badass.
Yeah, because what I want to do is if there's ever a time where I'm like, I don't know, say talking my face off and there's not any code happening, I want to be able to just have those GIFs just showing, like just randomly pop them up.
Just looping for whenever we're not streaming. Just have a GIF looping for after.
Not when we're not streaming, but whenever, yeah. That would be kind of funny if we just had a stream, just perpetual stream of just this GIF running.
Never host anybody else, just fucking have a GIF streaming for like 2 days.
Yeah, so I don't know if we have Wingman, I don't even know what Telecopter is. Let's find out. Yeah, you can. There was this is a bug. Most of the GIFs are bugs because the bugs in this game are hilarious. But you know how like when you're standing on a moving platform, it will drag you along with it? There's an awesome bug that if you bumped your head on a moving platform and started to hover, it would just kind of attach to your head and drag you along. Windmill. Oh man, this will probably show off some good deaths if you want to see. Oh my god. Oh, he cheated. Okay. That was totally using the fly cheat. You can't do that. And then he moonwalks as like a victory dance. His cheating victory dance. Wow.
Oh, Alex.
Yeah.
That's badass.
One here. We get a feature. HR has long hair. If he had long hair and like just his ponytail, you know, got caught, he would just die. Like that would be kind of funny, I guess. Like if we did that, just like clone kick. Oh man, this stuff. Man, this is some of my favorite stuff. So we made it so that when a clone dies, you can actually kick the pieces of his body around.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and I even made it so that you could you can kick them part way in. Oh yeah, and this has a lot of that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty sweet. There are a lot of neat features like that. A lot of little stuff that, you know, oh, that just chops off his head. Sometimes I forget how long the nice deaths have been in.
That's fucking amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that gif. That's just brilliant.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I'm very happy with the way that turned out.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love is that the pieces can teleport and they actually show up in the designated fucking area.
Yeah, well, and they show up whole, which was the thing, because before...
Just kick his head off the fucking suit.
Yeah, before, what would happen is... that like if you were dead, then like the pieces of you were all individual, and it would teleport each individual piece, and so you just it would just barf pieces onto you. But then I switched up the system to make it so that if your whole like torso was intact, then and the whole thing was inside of the portal, that it would keep your entire torso intact and teleport it as one piece. Which was a very tricky system to do, honestly, and I'd love to do like a blog or a stream on it, because I think that other people, if anyone wants to make like super dynamic deaths, I've never seen anyone do this, honestly, like not to jerk myself off about it, but I've never seen anyone do a system like this, and so I think it might be a super handy thing for people to learn. Speaking of which, to
jerk
answer
myself off somewhere.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
Headcloud actually just linked us to a name your own price game design bundle.
Oh, interesting. But just to answer the Ziggy's question, I've been using it for about a year, and there's still so much that I don't know simple things. Just on prefabs, holy shit. So yeah, prefabs are pretty big. The way that I personally learned it was that I just bought a book on it, and just started from there. If you saw some on Reddit, most comments say that YouTube vids are better, not very good, and you have to, I guess you saw the bundle link on Reddit. I wasn't sure what you were talking about. So yeah, I recommend books. There's really no substitute for a good development book. I think the same thing is true for programming. Do I still have it? Not seeing it. I probably got rid of it when we moved, because it was actually a Unity 3 book, and so a lot of stuff isn't relevant anymore. But I'm pretty sure I've linked this before, and I'm just going to pimp this out until they start paying me to do it. I super highly recommend Pact Publishing, and I'm going to paste that link right now. Good. Well, there you go, Nilox. I just answered your question. Pretty much like most of the video tutorials.
I like video tutorials.
Video tutorials are fine if you already know a lot of the basics and are just learning a very specific thing. In that case, super in favor of video tutorials. Great. That's a great way to learn. But so many video tutorials don't go over things as in depth or as broad. Like, it's one of the two is usually missing. And a book is the best way to cover that kind of stuff. You know, like there's no real substitute for a book. I think that video tutorials, they sell ebooks, and they also do have videos. You can see there's an option on the left hand side for books or videos, and you can look through they have videos also for sale. And by default, I'm pretty sure the price that you see for those books is the ebook price. By default, they will sell ebooks, and then you can upgrade to the print version if you want it. And I bought several of these books, and there's only one that I was ever disappointed with, and that was the Love 2D Lua programming book. It was kind of just too old at the point, but it didn't specify what version it was, so
And
just kind of ended up being a bust. But yeah, I would go to Pack Publishing, find like the newest or most general use Unity book. Looks like there's one called Mastering Unity for Scripting. I think that's a video. But yeah, it's really all the Pack Publishing Unity books that I've looked at are really good, and I would highly recommend them. And I bought some C++ books from there too, and some other Lua books, because I also have Gideros Mobile, which is a mobile game engine, and I bought a book from that, and it was really good. So I'd highly recommend pretty much anything from Pact about Unity. Go for it. When Amazon, it's released September this year, so to date. Yeah, Nilox, go for it. Obviously, if it's super new, then I will not have actually read it, so I can't give you a super good impression. But based on maybe the publisher or something like that, yeah, love to. So on the Ziggy, are you saying that you use Unity for 2D stuff? I'm just going to say that's very brave of you. C# programming with
You have a
Unity.
2D aspect of it too, right? Or is it just harder to do?
It does have 2D, but it's just like, it's a little janky. And honestly, because Unity is a 3D engine, you're still technically doing 3D rendering. You're just doing it for quads and putting sprites on those quads, and so it's nowhere near the most efficient way to do 2D games. And if you're doing mobile games especially, and you really need that performance, then Unity is just not going to be the most performant 2D engine. If you're doing 2D stuff, you're wasting a whole lot of power on Unity's rendering. It's basically
Do you
how
know
it
of
works.
a good one for 2D shit?
For mobile, Gideros Mobile is great. There's a whole editor that is that's built into it. I have it right here, and I can show you it real fast. This is Gideros, and I have my little test project, and you can. It has a little emulator built in with it, and I just put it over chat because that's how I do. And so you can just grab this, and so I have this little quick thing that just prints out to the screen, and this is my emulator, and then I just hit play, and then this is my debug log right here, and then this is my emulator, so I can put any all of the graphics and stuff like that, and it's just all packaged really nicely. It is, if you want to learn Lua scripting and or a mobile thing, I would super recommend that. Gideros is great. If you're not doing mobile stuff and you just want PC, Mac, and Linux, I would highly recommend Love 2D. I'm just going to link these things. If you want to do mobile, here's Gideros. That's Gideros Mobile. If you want to do other things, if you want to do PC, Mac, Linux, I think Love 2D is great. And there's a really in-depth physics system to Love 2D. And so if you want to do if you want to make a fucking Angry Birds clone or something like that, you can do really crazy physics things with that. Let me get back to this book description real quick.
Defaulting at 20.
C#. Yeah, so it's C# in Unity, so I'm already in favor of that. What about 3D Lua? I honestly don't know. I'm not entirely sure about 3D Lua. If you're doing 3D, I feel like Unity is your best bet. Unless you want to do Unreal or CryEngine or something like that. But I assume that you are the rag. So yes, thanks for tuning in, and thank you for that character design. Have you seen Rag? Have you seen the fan art? Because somebody did fan art for the character and it's amazing.
Is this the guy that fucking designed Mike?
Yeah.
That's dopeness.
Which I don't know if you've seen. Have you seen the original concepts for Mike? Like he even had the little light coming out of his belt and everything. He did like a concept for that. Looked really cool.
It's fucking awesome. I don't think I've seen that. That fan art was pretty sweet though. Who fucking made that? Is one of the guys on now?
I believe that was Automotos, and
Yeah, Automotos made it.
I haven't seen him talk in chat, but
How long do you think it's before there's like a rule? What is it? Rule 32 or Rule 34?
Oh, if there's gonna
No,
be
I don't
Spaceman
wanna-
Mike porn.
I don't even want to think about it.
It's gonna happen.
It
I hope
is. I don't. Actually, speaking of which, there is Alex at one point found Dark Scavenger fan/fic.
Oh no.
Apparently, the alien gazer is pretty popular with the furry community. They think it's hot. So there's gazer fan/fic like.
Holy
So
shit.
and Dark Scavenger is like a super niche title. So I can only imagine it's going to happen. Something similar is going to happen for this. Automotus did the first fan art, and then he kind of pressured Trent into doing his own fan art. So Trent did a pixel fan art, which is super awesome. He put the clone spawner in and everything. It was super neat.
I didn't see it. Was this posted anywhere?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I put both of them in our Dropbox. Everything is under. Yeah, we have a there's a fan art folder now in our Dropbox external assets.
I haven't checked that. I was looking for the external assets. Are we gonna be putting that into the Visual Studio thing?
External assets? I don't know. I thought about it and I haven't quite made up my mind. I don't know why. Like I guess if we're versioning them and we really need to. I'm already working. Apparently, Rag is gonna do some Rule 34 Spaceman like. What's up, Outcast? Thanks for coming back. Good to have you on the stream.
Oh, Outcast is back.
Yep.
Sweet.
So let's see.
What the fuck? Wow, that's really 8-bit.
Yeah, it's like super pixelated. It's super neat though. It's more like abstract, but super neat.
Yeah.
I really like it.
That's cool though. What's up? I should make some of these background objects in the fucking first fan art. Cool.
Directory. Let's see. Working C# game engines. I think that should switch our thing over. I'm gonna give AJ the highlights since I'm kind of looking at this, looking at the table contents for this book at the moment. So let's see.
I'm just making shit.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the table contents for this book, but I'm not like streaming that thing because it's already linked in chat. So my actual screen is super boring, which is why I'm highlighting yours. Let's see.
I wish I was doing some animation or something. That'd be great.
To answer Headclot, we haven't discussed any mod tools. That I'm gonna just go ahead and say that for like the initial release of the game, we're not gonna have any kind of mod tools. But it's not entirely out of the question that we would have something in the future. I'd love to make a level editor because I think that games with level editors are super cool, and it'd be awesome to really like have that integrated. You know, I just don't know how we would go about it, and like we would have to be much more organized with the documentation that we have for the game, because like there are a lot of like weird rules and maybe naming conventions that people wouldn't be familiar with. So if we were going to build one in the game, it would have to be like a kind of watered down version of the actual Unity editor, and that's a pretty tall order. So like I think we want to just kind of get the game done, but not speaking for Alex, but personally, like there would come a point where I would be like, if I would fucking like open source the game. Like if you buy the game, we give you like the Unity project or something like that, and make your own levels, do whatever the fuck you want. I would totally be in favor of that. It could get questionable because then people could release their own builds of the game, but whatever. And it also wouldn't be easy to share that, so I don't know. Yeah, it could be a grid-based editor. It would have to be on like kind of goofy, a goofy grid, because I think that Alex in his I think he has design notes for exactly how big certain things are, and like it's like 42 Unity units is a certain thing, so it's possible. I'm gonna just say that like when we initially release the game, there's not gonna be anything like that. I am not at all against doing it at some point, but I think that the game itself is enough work that that doing that would be a bit too much on an initial run through. All right, Rag. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, man. You should we'll show me your concepts on stream and shit, and yeah. We'll probably do like a more concept-y stream at some point. So yeah, everybody, that's Ragman Rag is the original Spaceman Mike concept artist. So yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Did he build the model too, or is he just drawing the design and shit?
I'm pretty sure he just did the concept, and Min, who is another coworker of Alex's, or was a coworker of Alex's, did the model and did the initial rigging and animation.
Nice.
Outcast, that is true, and the thing about that is that when you're using Unity, that is your editor, like that's your level editor. So if you already have this super flexible, really intense level editor, why would you make your own level editor specifically for the game to make levels and then save them? Like, if we were making a game from scratch, like, you know, C++ and OpenGL or something like that, yeah, that would have been the first thing I did, was make an editor. I'd made level editors before. Actually, we were talking about Blitz.
Yeah,
Blitz
I
3D
remember that
before.
shit.
I made a level editor in Blitz 3D, and it was pretty intense, actually. You could do a lot of shit with it, but once you're using Unity, that is your level editor, and it's kind of silly to just build a whole new one unless you have really, really super specific things that you do with it that Unity doesn't do. So, like, just to give you a really quick example, when we do, I'm going to just toss this over here. When we do moving platforms, for instance, that's not like, those aren't really scripted. Those are, here's our moving platform. And our button. Like, our vision objects is 0. Let's see, I don't know if this is still, yeah. So like, for instance, this moving platform, that little behavior script that we have for this, that when I step on this moving platform, that the movement of that platform is not a scripted event. Like, that is, I'm not in code doing an update that moves between those two things. That's actually a Unity animation. And I'll show you that in here. So when you pull this up, this moving platform actually has a legitimate animation on it. Where the hell is it though? Show me. There we go. So you can see, like, we did this right here. This is our super, like, I just moved it over to the right. But we can do all kinds of things. Like, we can grab this over here and, you know, do different curves with it. I can grab this and make this go on this crazy curve. I can put another thing here and make that go on some other crazy curve, and they're just, it's really, we can kind of do anything here. It's not letting me do a curve. That's annoying.
You can kind of do anything except for that.
Except for what I've been trying to do. Oh, maybe I didn't actually, maybe I didn't set, yeah, I did not set it to be free. There we go. So we can do this curve right here, and it's like super graphical animation editor. And so now when I go into the game and I hit this thing, well, it didn't update the animation there. Why did you not do that? It's trying to make me look dumb, because what did I animate the Z? I animated the Y. Hey, fuck, Unity's flipping out. Okay. Shit, what did I just do? So when I open this animation, we should be seeing all of the things. It's not animating the Y that I gave it. That's strange. Why would you not? Why would you not do that? Well, since it's being an asshole with that for no good reason, maybe we can make it do this. So yeah. So now, instead of this simple left to right motion, we're making it kind of do goofy things where it can just go back and forth all over the place. So it's not a simple scripted movement like I go from here to here and then back. It just plays the animation, so you can do whatever you want in that animation. You can scale the object, you can rotate it, you can do anything that an animation can do. And so that gives Alex a lot of freedom to do really crazy shit with it. Let's see. So let's see. What is the background and textures on all the objects going to be? Well, that's, I mean, you're looking at AJ's screen real big. That's, he's actually modeling over top of the concept art that we have. So, like, that concept art is the concept for the background. Background tiles are going to look something like that for this control room that we're looking at right now. I'm the Ziggy. I've not watched The Walking Dead since the first 3 or 4 episodes of season 2. Haven't been keeping up with it, but I do. It's a good show, and I'll watch it. Watch it more someday. I don't know if y'all's. A lot of other people are bigger show watchers than I am.
I don't really have time. It's my biggest problem.
Never enough time for shit.
Nah, never. It sucks. What are you crying about?
I'm just being stupid right now. I can't figure shit out.
I mean, you said it.
Okay, so I'm gonna relink this book real quick because I mean from everything that I can tell, it looks legit. So I'm gonna relink this book in the chat there. From like kind of giving it a little overview and reading as much as I can inside of the Amazon viewer. It looks really good. It looks pretty thorough. It kind of gives you like you go through pseudocode and how you actually think things through, and it goes through like arrays and all the things that you can actually do with them, like getting the count and all that kind of stuff. Like it's relatively basic programming type stuff, but presented in the Unity 3D library and editor and all that stuff. So yeah, I would say if you are looking for a Unity book, that seems like a pretty legit way to go. It looks like it was just released. I think he said September. So you've been learning Java? I'm so sorry. Sorry for
your loss.
I apologize on behalf of Java. But C++, that's great to learn. So yeah, I mean, so some of the stuff in that book you will already know, especially when it comes to the basic things like arrays and all that kind of stuff and writing functions. That will certainly help you throughout a lot of it, but this will obviously go a little bit beyond and go into a lot of practical use for really super object-oriented stuff. I don't know how much. I mean, if you've done like basic C++ or even relatively advanced C++, I don't know how much object-oriented stuff you've done, and that's Unity and C# are like fully object-oriented, and I think Java is as well. So I'm sure you are aware of the concepts behind that stuff. AJ, looks like there's another question for you.
Question for me.
I think you're gonna have strong opinions on it.
Oh no! Hold on, let me pull up Twitch.
I think you're gonna have strong opinions.
This might be a better question for you. What do you think on mocap? Oh god.
Traditional all the fucking way.
Well, traditional would mean 2D animation, but
Well, I mean
but
fucking
if
key
you mean-
animation.
yeah, well, key animation. I mean, honestly, I think it's very dependent. You can get a lot of good stuff out of mocap. I've been working in mocap for the last year, actually, but a lot of it, believe it or not, is a lot of it ends up getting thrown away, and a lot of it becomes hand keyed. But for the most part, like it kind of just depends. Like, Metal Gear, for example, is mostly mocap, and a lot of it is really freaking good. You look at it and it looks like a dude doing his thing. But if you have something that's not supposed to be live action, then it's you've got a cartoony character. If you try and mocap it, it's just gonna look stupid. And you can look at that like with Vanille from fucking Final Fantasy 13.
Who's fucking idiot?
She looks awful.
That
and
is awesome.
It's not great, but I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, that's kind of my example. It's kind of
I
dependent on
haven't put the pop on.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
um,
I think that's
what kind of a character that you're
I
actually
hope so.
working on.
I hope so.
Okay, so I'm just showing. P.S. I'm just showing like more deaths. I went through some of the unstable deaths, so I'm showing the portal deaths. So yeah, should put the portal destination a little farther away. But I don't want to stop you. You can keep going if you're still chatting about stuff.
No,
I'm gonna let you finish.
That's pretty much it. I mean, it's kind of just like, they both have their pluses and minuses. Personally, I like animating.
Hey. Sorry.
Oh hey.
Personally, I
it.
like animating, so I would always opt for hand-keyed animation. That's just kind of where I stand now.
He's being held up by his jetpack.
Oh, I missed Rag. Hi, Rag. I don't know if you're still watching.
I don't think he is. He said he was. He said he was leaving like a while ago. So I don't.
Damn.
Seems
Okay, yeah.
unlikely that he's. So the root object is the one that is holding everything up here. So if I just tossed you over there, there we go. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't make the root its own object. Who knows? Let's see. Object-oriented programming is more of style. Yes, Outcast. To answer your question real quick, object-oriented. So object-oriented is like a term for a design philosophy of programming. It's not a language. It's not anything like that. It's a design philosophy. So when people talk about object-oriented programming, they're talking about using an object-oriented design in a particular programming language. A language like C is not object-oriented like at all. You really, it's more. It's super like not object-oriented. You kind of can't do it. I mean, you can do it to a degree, but the reason that C++ kind of came along was to add a lot of the option to use object-oriented design. And so you have things like classes, which then you can instantiate as objects and all this stuff. And that's where the term comes from. The object-oriented means like you have a class which you think of as your blueprint, and then you create instantiations of that class, which are called objects. And so the object-oriented design means that you are focused on using objects and not just using things like global functions, and basically you're handling things in a more, almost a more like physical styled thing where like I'm holding this glass as an object and it has behaviors to it. It can be filled with water inside of it. It has properties, and it's all properties of this object, which is the glass. So it's a design philosophy, which you don't necessarily need to do, but in things like Unity, it's fully object oriented, and everything in Unity is an object. Even your script instantiations are objects. The main objects in Unity are called game objects, and that just refers to the actual, like, in your hierarchy, when you click on one of these things in your hierarchy, that is a game object. Those game objects contain scripts, or, more generally components, which are also a type of object. And so it's all based around objects that have properties and have behaviors. So that's what object-oriented design is in a super shitty, blabby kind of explanation. Just curious, I'm currently working on a 2D God game RTS hybrid in Unity 3D. I would say that there's no reason that Gaderos could not be used for a large world. Like it's 2D, so you're not really being super demanding on the device that you're using. Relatively speaking, compared to a 3D game. So I don't see any reason that Gaderos would not be able to handle that. Love 2D probably has like more experienced people with stuff like that. But because Gaderos is mobile, it's more focused on smaller worlds and stuff like that. But I don't think there's any inherent limitation to Gaderos in that way. So I would say it's worth a shot. I would say go for it. There's no reason there's no evidence that I have to support that it would have any problem with that.
We got one here so mocap is really only good for very realistic characters, but even then regular animation is still very good. They're both very good. That's the thing, is that the idea is that you get more subtle motion with mocap. So like things that just how people move, but you'll never get finger motion. There's no finger articulation in mocap. So anytime, like going back to what Nylock said, The Last of Us and all that stuff, all of those finger animations were all hand keyed. So that, like if somebody's rolling a ball in their fingers, that kind of thing, that's all hand keyed. Basically anything that goes through, it ends up getting hand keyed at some point, or fixed as a mocap, and they just use the mocap to retain all of that subtle motion. Even something as hardcore as like, King Kong, or Planet of the Apes and stuff like that. Any of the Andy Serkis stuff is all, it's all mocap, but contrary to what he might say, it doesn't end at the mocap. It goes through a whole team of animators before it gets to the silver screen. And so the idea is that mocap will look better, look more realistic, and the whole nine. But if you have a really good animator, they can do the same thing. They'll never get all of that articulation. Well, I wouldn't.
Time you got.
That's true, but and the idea is also financially. But then again, you have to pay actors, you have to pay for a mocap studio, you have to pay for all of the people that set it up, and you have to pay for reshoots. So, like, realistically...
It's true, but with mocap, you could see something real time with an actor on a stage, and then hand key if you get a note, and be like, alright, this might take me a couple hours to pull
It's true, but a lot of times the hand keys are complete reduxes.
Oh, yeah, no, I completely agree. I fucking like to do hand-keyed shit more than mocap shit any day. I'd rather... If I could never go into Motion Builder again, I'd be happy.
See, I've been a Motion Builder for a while now, and honestly, I really like it. It kind of just depends on what...
Well, do you switch it to Maya navigation?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Going in there with fucking native Motion Builder, like, navigation is wild. It's fucking
No, it's the absolute worst.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, I like going... Personally, I like going back into Maya. That's why I'm using Maya at home. True. But, at work I use a lot of Motion Builder, and I have no problems with it. I think it's great.
All the facial mocap stuff nowadays is fucking brilliant. It's pretty amazing what they can do.
Some of it's good. Like LA Noire was really good.
Anything now, like fucking Last of Us is a standout. So is Infamous. All that shit.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I totally agree with mocap.
But I don't want to like take away from the animators that had to fix it though, you know?
No, definitely not. Yeah, there's always like glitches and weird frames that everybody's gonna have to fucking fix up.
Yeah, it's always gonna be like that too.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, to answer your question, both of them have their uses. Like neither one is better than the other, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, you always need a person to fix some shit, though.
Yeah, you always do.
It's never gonna be fucking perfect.
Nope.
So yeah, just wanted to Nilox. If they only taught object-oriented, I mean, well, I don't know if I would say that's good. I mean, you're gonna get, if there's anyone who's like a super C programmer is gonna say, no, that's not good, that's horrible, you're wasting your life and you're not a real programmer. And as any like assembly person will about C, you know, like there's many tiers of programmers, and you know, if you know object oriented, then yeah, you're pretty good, especially for Unity. But if you're not familiar with like the lower level concepts of having, you know, like more global functions and static managers, all that stuff, like then you know, you're gonna have people who think that that's horrible. So I think it's worth learning some C and understanding the differences, at the very least. Understand the difference between like C and C++, and learn a little bit of C if you can, and you know, even assembly. There's no one. I don't think no one in their right mind is going to tell you that learning anything is bad. Like, learn whatever you can. Wait, there's still assembly programmers? Yeah. In fact, there are certain game development companies that will give you a programming test that will have assembly in it, and you'll have to give them assembly code and submit that as like the answer to a puzzle. Be like, hey, I have these assembly have like these assembly functions that I can call, and you have to write this, you know, you have to solve for getting this response out of it. And like, so how would you do like a multiplication? How would you like write a calculator in assembly and do multiplication if you don't have a multiplication function in assembly, you know, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's
Pick
still
up a telephone.
It's still there, man. And you know, and honestly, the programmers who know assembly and will sometimes even write and edit in assembly are some of the best programmers that you'll ever meet, because there's different like levels. The lower level you get in your programming, the lower level knowledge that you have, the better programmer you will probably be in general. As a general rule, obviously it doesn't apply to everything, but if you know assembly and you can look into the assembly that, you know, your game is outputting and be able to tell where the inefficiencies are, then yeah, then you'll be a great programmer.
The same thing can be said about animation too. A lot of the best animators I've met were originally 2D guys.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's true of people who have only done mocap or something like that. If God forbid a university like that exists where they're like, well, this is all you're going to be doing is mocap, you know, like, and then you don't know, you know, more traditional animation and keyed animation, all that stuff. You're definitely not going to be as good at the mocap stuff, probably, you know. What company does? A lot of game companies do, man, especially, and it depends the job that you're going for. Like, if you're going for an engine programmer, then you better fucking believe that you're going to be asked some assembly stuff, because that's the lower level the lower level programming that you're going for, and engine is like kind of definitely one of the lower levels. Yeah, you're going to be asked about assembly, sure. And there are programmers, especially engine programmers, who will say that if you don't know assembly, you're not a real programmer. There's a lot of elitism in programming, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, I know.
No.
It's surprising, but it's true.
There's a lot of elitism all over the place. In animation, I personally like all programs. Chris will bitch about every program.
Everybody can bitch about every program.
No, but you bitch about every program. Like, oh, Maya's a piece of shit. And then, like, next week you're like, oh, it's all right, I guess.
And then Alex will
like
complain about
aspects
Unity
of-
every day.
Hey, I'm good with Unity. I like Unity. It's good.
That's not what I hear most of the time.
Oh my god.
Fucking Unity.
Most
Yeah,
of,
well,
yeah,
I
most
like
of the time I hear
cursing out,
complaints about Unity more
No,
often
we're
than I hear
supposed-
compliments.
Oh, okay. So I'm working Unity. I'm like, man, Unity, your ability to move objects is just so swell. Like, I mean, like, if I'm gonna say something out loud when I'm working, it's probably gonna be profanity because something fucked up. I'm just saying, like. But no, Unity is awesome. I love it. No, seriously,
Any
legitimately,
program
I
that
do.
doesn't have a proper align tool can eat a fucking dick.
Well, there's that.
Fucking need a proper align tool.
I wrote you a proper
Yeah.
align tool.
No,
And
but that's
it's
still
also,
just
no, dude, it's also
Are you
about
talking
how
about Unity
you
or talking about
No,
Maya?
he's talking about Maya. He's still
everything.
No, he's still
You don't got one either.
No. You can keep crying, buddy. But fucking
Have fun making your constraints and then getting rid of them.
dude, I do it all the time.
You have to. You're forced to.
Oh.
Hey.
But I can still animate faster in Maya than
Okay, so everyone has to give one tip.
one tip.
But to answer Headclot real quick before, because that's a faster answer, I've tried Unreal 4 like a tiny bit, and it seems like there's a lot of neat stuff about it. I don't think that it completely has the user friendliness of Unity, but I would highly recommend it, especially if you prefer C++ to C#. That's probably the biggest thing. I really love C++, and I wish I could work in it more. Unity is very C# focused, but I think there are really nice things about Unreal, and it's a great tool to learn. Yeah, absolutely. Who wants to go first on one tip about game development?
I'll actually do it, but I also got to show what I'm working on right now.
Oh my god.
Sorry, you guys can see what I'm doing right now. You got to go see this.
Do it.
First, yeah, let me show you guys this. So, just keep in mind, I don't have it working yet where you can actually kill the clones to advance forward, but I'll at least walk you through the level so you can see what will happen. And also the camera movement here might make you a little bit nauseous, so I apologize in advance.
Are you sharing your screen? Okay, it just showed up on the screen.
All right, here we
go. Go ahead and do that then, and that should make us. Nylox, I am on it. Okay, give me a second, man. I'm in the middle of coding something, and Alex just comes in on here like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna start doing stuff."
Oh yeah. Okay, so check this out. Okay, so can you guys all see?
Yep.
Okay, so this is pretty grody what I just have here right now, but basically, so you drop in, you land on a button, which spawns all these 4 clones around. So in order to advance forward, God, go away.
Did
Sorry.
it not work?
Or can you not
No,
see
okay. Yeah, I don't know. The stream delay was really long for me, so yeah, we're good.
Okay, so in order to advance forward, you need to kill these 4 clones. So I kind of like him to do. How did I just die? What the hell was that? I'm so confused right now. All right, let's try that again. Anyway, so I spawned the 4 clones. I'll look into that. So you got to kill them all. So I like to go around clockwise and get them all murdered. So this will raise the center platform, which means you can now access the area that you were just in before, or you can go down. I actually wrote the word link here just to remind myself. This is going to link back to an earlier area. This proceeds forward. So I go through this next realm. I go through this next room. So now I encounter kind of a long hallway. I'm just calling this the Hall of Terrors for now. I'll show you guys what all this is in a moment. So basically, every single time I hit one of these buttons, it spawns a few clones. In order to open the access way to the portal right below me, I need to get these clones murdered brutally. So our first 2 victims in the Chamber of Terrors here are these 2 clones, and I'm going to have them jump up and get murdered by this unstable grinder going on right above me. So what that's going to do, once they're both dead, it's going to open the route right below me so I can go forward into a new area. Our next stop here spawns this poor unsuspecting clone. So I bring him forward towards this auto energy, jump up, and murder him. So, opens the next passage. Finally, we're going to go to this last one. This one's actually a puzzle. So, what's going to happen here is if I try to bring this clone through a portal, right? And he just kind of respawns back over here. So, I can't really do anything with this clone, right? Because I've already learned from the first 2 encounters that in order to open the room below, I need to murder him very viciously, but it doesn't look like there's a way to murder him, right? Well, that's where my delivery. Holy shit, my delivery is here. Hold on, I'll be right back. I gotta grab my food. Sorry. Suspense. Be right back.
And that's when the pizza shows up, and we all have a nice, sweet party. I'm taking over this.
That's how you get through a level. You got to order food.
Taking over this stream now. So I ran into a little bug, so I'm taking over the stream.
We'll never know what happened.
We'll never find out. I'm not going to let him stream anymore. So I ran into an interesting bug here because I just decided that I'm going to try and do this thing where I am basically using these portals as little toggles. You're just kind of jumping back and forth between these 2 spots, and right below those 2 spots are 2 portals that spawn right above each other. So I'm just dropping above the one portal, going down into it, dropping down into the next one, and just going back and forth. The reason I did this is because I think it's going to be really funny for dying, and when you die, and let's say I get a piece of me chopped off, I fall into here. What's supposed to happen right here is that I am supposed to, I'll show you with this.
Hey, I'm back.
Word.
Alright.
This is what's supposed to happen. You can see that these pieces of me are going back and forth between the 2 spots. And yeah, it's pretty it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to do. So the problem that I'm running into is that if I do this and I get all of the pieces of me into one spot, like it right here, this will never teleport all of my pieces. The reason for that, I think, is that all of the pieces of the character are actually in one spot, which is a different state for the character to be in, and so he's not being teleported because he's completely intact in the portal, technically. Like, every single one of his pieces is in the portal, so that should actually teleport the character over to a different spot, but because he's dead, it can't do that. So it's just constantly trying to activate this portal. And so what I need to do is I need to make an exception for when he's dead to just teleport the individual pieces. And so I need to make it actually technically that he's partly in the teleportal because he's dead and he can't teleport as a whole character. So that's what I'm going to be working on while Alex hopefully shows us the end of this.
Alright. Alright. I'm going to show you the end of this thing now. Can you guys still see my thingy? My screen?
I got your thingy. I'm watching your thingy right now. Did you just cheat?
It's not the first. I just cheated a little bit. Yeah, ignore that. But
you can't cheat on stream.
I'm not. No, I'm
not. Are you
okay,
using the sector settings to change the keys on that?
Yeah. I've been doing so.
Thanks, Outcast. Thanks for watching, man.
See you, man.
Yeah, see ya. Thanks for stopping by.
All right. So I'll show you the end of this thing here. So anyway, so as you can see, in order to open the new passages, I've established in the first example and the second example, in order to open the passage, I need to murder somebody. So here, however, it doesn't look like I can murder anybody, right? Because I send this guy through and he just pops down here. Well, this is where something that the player hopefully has learned by now comes into play. The secret of this puzzle: I jump halfway through, get him sliced in half, and that opens up the passage below.
I love that top half of him.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep. So anyway, that's how you open the passage forward. So within these 3 rooms, I haven't finished them yet. I'll be finishing them next time, but I'm going to be designing a few more rooms around horrific clone death. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And just past this area, there's going to be a longer section involving horrific clone death, followed by another devil room, which I'll cover on another stream. To give my one tip really fast before I take off regarding game dev, so actually this is a tip that we've I'll just give you a general design tip.
People were supposed to be giving tips, and we fucking wasted all our time waiting for you to get pizza. So everybody remember to give your tips.
Get it right. All right,
that is better actually. I'll accept that.
All right. I'll give you my one tip right here. This is something actually, something I actually learned from another designer I used to work with, or one of the designers at Harmonix. So a lot of people, they get this idea in their head that the role of a designer is to have all the ideas and come up with like this great big solution to solve everything. When in reality, there are people who try to be like that. Well, I mean, obviously, but no. In reality, the true role of a designer on a project is not necessarily to have the best ideas, because everyone on the project, everyone outside the project, for Christ's sake, has an idea. Everyone has ideas. Now, the role of the designer is to champion the best ideas from the team. So whether it's from themselves, or whether it's from art or code or QA or play testing, the role is to find the best ideas and make sure that those are the ones that make it into the game. Is to have the overall vision of the game in your head and trying to figure out exactly what it is you're trying to put into a playable form. And it's not up to you to have all the ideas that make this happen. It's up to you to find them wherever they are and make sure that they get into the game. So anyway, just keep that in mind for any aspiring designers out there, and also that's why it's a very good practice to make sure you keep your ego in check, because you are not always right. That's another hard lesson you're going to have to learn very soon as a designer. So anyway, that's all I wanted to contribute. I need to run because I'm going to eat food, and then I'm going to play a very nerdy RPG for a little while with some peeps. But afterwards, I will be back later if you guys are still streaming. Just hit me up if you want.
Are we going to have like a legitimate meeting too?
Oh, right. We usually have a meeting, don't we?
It's already it's an hour past our normal actual meeting time. I don't know.
I have to bounce soon.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're all here, right? I mean, we might as well just have a meeting right now, I guess, unless there's any particularly sensitive information, which I can't imagine there is.
Yeah, I don't think
there
are no secrets at this point. But
yeah, pretty much.
But
not.
Really quick, so I don't know. To go back to I'm the Ziggy. Actually, so
I'm still here, man.
To go back to I'm the Ziggy about the game development tip. Obviously, I mean, as the programmer, I'm a elitist coder, and so I'm just gonna say learn all of the. And I'm gonna say not only even if you're not really a programmer, learn some programming concepts, learn some types of things like that. But learn not only a little bit of coding, but really learn more than you think you need to. Learn the software that you're using. I can't tell you how many people use something if they're in Unity or something like that, and just don't know really basic things about it that would really help you, because they just thought, oh well, this is not a thing that I need to know, or this isn't necessarily in my domain, or I don't think that this thing exists at all, and so I just I do things a certain way, and that's just that. Learn more than you think you need to, and you will be better off for it. Pretty, I want to say every time. I've never known anyone who knew too much about the software that they were using, or that knew useless things about the software that they're using. For instance, the source control that we use, which I can show you real quick, which is Visual Studio. So we have a Visual Studio Online account. So we have this source control explorer, and we are able to all work in the same project, and we check out individual files for edits. And so, for instance, I have every script in the whole project is checked out for edit on both of my computers at once, and I can work on those, and I can merge them together when I make edits on multiple computers, and so that everything kind of resolves nicely. And we use this at work, and there are people who don't know, for instance, that in this that you can say right click and and undo pending changes. So somebody thought oh well, if I don't want to submit something, I have this thing checked out for edit, but I don't want to submit it, I want to go back to the original version. They didn't know that there was an undo command. People work in software and they don't even understand it at all, and because they just don't bother, they're oh, nobody told me this, therefore I don't know it. And if you ever find yourself using that excuse, you should take a long, hard look in the mirror and just think about your life and your choices. Because you shouldn't do that. You should make it a point to know what you're doing, even if you don't consider it really like in your realm of expertise or anything like that. And that includes code. Like any designer who knows, not only like knows the system that they're using, but the more you know about code, the more you will know about the requests that you're making of your team, and specifically of your programmer, which is incredibly handy. Like that, if that doesn't sound like something that's super handy, then I don't know what's wrong with you, because that is anyone who has worked with a designer who doesn't know anything at all about like the software that they're using. You'll get crazy requests and you'll be sad for the entirety of the project that you're working on.
Can you imagine that? That would be just terrible.
I know.
It'd be awful.
It's been my life for the past 2
I can't
years
even imagine. Yeah.
Did you just unmute to chime in on that?
Well, I don't think everyone wants to listen to me like eating. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm sure there's a Twitch channel that is dedicated to that, but I figured that this wasn't the appropriate place for that.
That's like half of game development. It's just like sitting at your desk
the sound
and eating,
of someone eating. Yeah, that is fair.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and take out this document. Clone deaths. Okay, clone deaths is not here. So yeah, that's kind of all I got for tips. I don't know. Do you bros have any game development tips?
Well,
make everything low poly.
Make everything low poly. I don't know. I've never worked in game dev as a modeler before, so I want to say that's not really my expertise. I worked as an animator. But
your animation's low poly.
Yeah. Keep all of your use only the curve editor.
Yep.
No, the only thing I can say is never get very much in love with what you make, because it's always going to change.
Yeah, I think that's true of everything.
Yeah, like it's
fucking notes.
There's so many times when I've made just this dope thing, and then all of a sudden, this guy is just this guy who just has to chime in says, "Well, what if we try this?" And it's like the worst idea, but you know it in your head, and the whole time you're animating, you're just like, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, this sucks, and like, but you have to do it, you know, and then you give it to them, and then they're like, "Hey, this sucks," and you're like, "Yep." I knew that's how it was gonna be, and then they're just like, "Oh, okay, well, let's go back to your first version and just, you know, elaborate on that." And so a lot of times you just gotta not be super in love with what you do. Nylock says he's got a tip: don't give up. Always will see people better than you. That is a fact. But they got there by practice, and you can too. And that is absolutely true, Nylox. I mean, just a personal story about that. I've always worked on small projects where, like, I'll work on this like super big project and I'll get really good and I'll feel like I'm leveling up, and then all of a sudden I'll go to like another project and there's just some dude who just has this resume from hell, and then you look at it and then you look at his work and you're like, fuck. And you're like, oh man, I wish I could do that. And like, it's just like, no matter how good you get, you could just get super awesome, and then all of a sudden you're sitting next to like Captain Awesome, and you're like, ah, and then you become Captain Awesome, and then you're sitting next to General Awesome.
Yep, there's always a higher ranking awesome than you.
Yep. Cool. Take care, Ziggy. It's great having you guys.
Thanks for stopping by. Again. Hopefully, I think he said he's following. So.
Yep.
Yeah, we will be streaming more and more as this goes on. So.
So let's see here. Am I actually? Oh, you can see what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Right. So
let's see.
I guess you guys want to have our meeting really fast.
We can do that.
Cool.
Are you gonna be chewing the whole time?
I'm just finishing this onion ring, man. It's done. It was just
Yeah,
that one onion ring.
I mean, is it?
You
like
said you
the
got chicken
sloppy-
wings. You didn't say anything about onion rings.
No, I'm gonna
Jesus
stave
Christ.
off the onion rings and the chicken wings. I forgot to mention the onion rings. I mean that's my fault, really.
Is the onion ring in water? Why is it so? Like,
It's technically immersed in saliva. I mean, if we really want to go into that level of detail, if you want a mental image.
I asked you to email
That's-
me some, but now I don't.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm not video sharing right now. I figured that I could probably save everybody that horror. But yeah, just to let everybody know, what we usually do is every Sunday we sync up briefly, all as a team, and we just kind of go over what we've done. And sorry, Nylox. We sync up just as a team, and we just kind of go over what we've done that week and what we're moving on to moving forward. So yeah, so the funny thing is, now that we started doing the streaming thing, I think most of us are pretty aware of what we're all doing at the moment. But
Yeah, and
but
if
all
you're
the
not,
time.
there's a week's worth of videos to look back on Twitch. So just
Yeah.
get like 7 hours free of your day and just watch the videos from this week.
yeah. So I might as well just state it just so everybody is aware. So for myself, I just finished making some clone levels. I'm still getting used to the mechanics, so it's been a little bit slow going, but I'm getting a lot faster at it now. Now that I'm really understanding what its limitations are and what I can do with it, and how to make levels with it that are interesting. So I'm going to be continuing with that moving forward. I've got a bunch of clone levels that I need to do this week, involving getting your clones murdered in terrible ways. Followed by that, I'm going to be putting together what's called a devil level, which is a level where this character called the Devil in the game, he just comes in and he messes with your mind and he murders a bunch of clones viciously in front of you. If you hadn't guessed, clone murdering, kind of a fun thing to do. Hopefully for the player it will be fun to watch, so I'm taking full advantage of that. Following that, I'm going to be putting together some levels where the clones actually fall to pieces, but then you got to kick the pieces into things. Like you got to kick the pieces through a hole so it hits a button and opens up a wall.
not morbid at all.
Not even a little bit. And then, and then you'll be able to go through eventually into another sector where I'm going to introduce a bunch of new mechanics with clones, including clones that kill you when you touch them, clones that are different sizes, and clones that if the clones die, you die as well. So it's going to be an interesting couple. It's going to be an interesting few weeks. That's all I got to say. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Just a note about that.
Sure.
Just to remind you, just in case, you do know that for unstable clones, they need to be in the background.
In the background. Okay, I'm glad you told me that. Cool. I'll make sure of that then.
Yeah, that's like you would have to treat it as if it were a portal or a piece of unstable energy or anything like that.
Sure. That makes sense to me. So cool. Yeah, that's I'm glad you told me that. So yeah, that's what I got. I guess if we want to go around, Joe, do you want to go next? I guess.
Yeah. So I'm partly bug fixing. Kyle promised me some bugs, and I haven't seen them yet. Let me double
Is
check.
Kyle watching?
Let me ask actually.
Because I wrote a bunch of tasks for myself, and I looked. Actually, I see there are some design tasks, so I don't know if that is. Then they're assigned to Alex. I don't know if that was Alex writing those, but my guess is that it's Kyle writing those. So get on that shit. So what I'm going to be doing is probably mostly bug fixing. I'm going to implement this new clone thing, and I actually will hopefully get it in today, where if a clone dies and a moving platform has gotten all of its clones worked out, of all of the clones that are required for a platform to activate have died, then it'll activate that platform. And let's see, what else do we have? I have a couple of other ideas. Probably most of it, honestly, is going to be getting the new clone stuff in. We're going to start getting the actual clone spawner, the object, the little clone tube. We're going to get that in, update the animations for the clone entering the level, and we're going to have to be placing the clones instead of just placing a spawner object. And let's see, and and the spider mouse animations. He has an idle and a squish now, so I can start getting to work on the spider mouse idling and the kind of movement and skitter. Maybe I'll make some parameters for you to be able to tell it like how long to wait for and how long to skitter for and what speed to go at and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome, man.
So yeah, all that stuff will be going on, and what else? And I have a couple of like little editor scripts that I want to do that'll probably get going. Like I want you, and I'll have to get some feedback from Alex on this one, for like I want to do something with being able to click on an object and see if there are any if there are any triggers that are activating that object and stuff like that.
That would be awesome.
Like,
yeah.
so yeah, kind of a way to like highlight those things. So yeah, like a couple of little like tool things like that. And anyone who finds something annoying in the Unity editor that I can probably script a solution for, just let me know. And Alex, again, at some point we're going to have to go over Sector 4, Level 47, checkpoints, the broken checkpoints.
Dicks.
I think I have a solution for it. We'll just have to go over it at some point this week.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Well, I'll make sure we take care of it this week. Awesome. Yeah, I just letting you know, I added Kyle to the call. Kyle, are you there?
Yeah, hey guys.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Kyle. For anyone who's wondering, Kyle is our business marketing and QA and helping me with designer guy. So he's a great all-around dude. And so yeah, Kyle, would you mind just going over what your or sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you was there anything else?
I don't think so. I think I was like basically any bugs that Kyle throws my way.
Cool. Sounds good. Kyle, yeah, man.
Yeah, well,
what are you working on this week?
yeah, well, I've been going through each sector and just basically fixing a ton of bugs. It's been a while since we did a pass over that. There was a lot of stuff broken, so stuff I couldn't fix, I wrote up for Alex to look at, and yeah. So I'm sure there's a few things there that will probably get passed up to Joe, honestly, but I wanted him to look at it first.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll check it out tomorrow when I get home. Awesome. Did you have any like new levels or anything you wanted to show off?
No, nothing new. I have one level that's I worked out at the beginning of the week, but it's not quite done yet. Maybe I'll show it off next week if I get a chance to look at it.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm very excited about levels getting fixed, because it's so frustrating, especially on stream when I'm like, oh hey, I'll show you like this room, and then it's just, like nothing works. I'm like, fuck, I can't show you that room. Maybe we'll try again.
That's what kind of made me realize, yeah, it's been forever since we actually, went through and fixed things. Since there's been a ton of changes in the code made and everything. Yeah, Sector 4 is starting to look good. I fixed that ambush room. I don't know if you've had a chance to play it, but I think it's feeling pretty good now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's Sector 4 Level 2, right? The one where you initially drop in.
Yeah, it should work. So if it doesn't, then let me know.
Yeah, I got the crap kicked out of me today when I tried that level, so I might go back through and just tweak it to make it just a slightly bit easier. It's actually the part where I kept dying was when the moving pillar in the center goes up just a little bit, allowing and then the beams start coming down. You have to jump up and hover to use that moving pillar as a barricade. Mm-hmm. I just got annihilated. So yeah, I would suggest, if you want to do any more tweaking on it, I would suggest actually making that just a bit more forgiving, like maybe lower the center pillar in the animation just a little bit so that it actually doesn't go up as high, so that the player has more room to be in the air before the cutoff point, which is where they die below.
When did you play it?
I played it today.
Okay. I've tweaked it like 3 or 4 times. I guess it's still too hard, so yeah, I'll go back and play with it some more.
Yeah, I'd say just play with it a little bit more. If you don't think that you can get it too much further, just let me know and I can take a look at it. But yeah, overall though, it was feeling pretty good. So kudos to that.
Cool.
Okay. Sick, man. Yeah, and yeah, as stated, Kyle's also helping me for the stream listeners. Kyle's also helping me Kyle's also helping me with design stuff, and his levels are freaking badass. So hopefully you'll get to see a few of those next week. No pressure, go. Cool. Was there anything else you wanted to go over?
Not really, no.
Cool. AJ, I mean, once again, we've been streaming all week, but did you want to just, I guess, go over some of the things you've done this week and what you're looking at for the future?
Well, I mean, basically, I just finished up the mouse bot thing, and
For sure.
yep, that's. I guess I'm gonna try and get a hold of that demon. In the meantime, I'm just gonna keep working on these guys, the little levels, just assets. I'm not super awesome at modeling. I'd rather be animating, but it's.
Stick with it. 'Cause I'd rather be doing it too, but we need assets.
I know.
Sorry, guys.
Just need to find someone who really likes modeling things.
I'm. It's actually kind of relaxing, to be honest. It's. I'm kind of getting back into the groove of it, because I mean, I don't know if Joe remembers, but I used to want to be a modeler.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Many moons ago, but so yeah. That's kind of just where I'm at. It's just kind of like I need work.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for helping out with the background asset stuff, and same to you, Chris, as well. I know it's kind of a pain in the ass, but as stated, we all know it's a necessary evil. So, yeah, it's awesome, man. Yeah, it's looking great.
Can't animate nothing.
That's true. Yeah, and totally keep me up to date with Mary and like the demon model itself, and I'll try to prepare I'll try to prepare the storyboard for the demon boss fight. I'm going to work on it this week. Hopefully, I'll make that my next priority. So when the model does come through, you'll have something to start working on. That should be pretty an interesting task for the stream, I would imagine.
Right.
That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Anyway, just give me more shit.
Will do, man. Awesome, thank you so much. And Chris, yeah, man, it's been a what is it? You were out last weekend, right?
Yeah, I was out last weekend.
I was in Jers.
A lot. I
Go
have
back
a
to
couple things
Jers.
Huh? Yeah, I was up in Dirt Jers.
Dirt McJers.
Yeah, I'll fucking take care of this shit.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome back, man. And
I've really
yeah,
only worked this weekend. I got like 2 models I could show. Why fucking? Can you see shit? Yeah. Yeah. I got this monitor set up on
I'm not seeing
texture.
it yet.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything, son.
It's weird. I could see it on my shit.
Well,
But
it's
it's like
probably 'cause
the
it's your
uploading
monitor.
thing is just getting.
Yeah.
We're getting the loading circle.
getting the circle of death.
Let me drop out and drop in. I'll be
Cool.
like this.
Gotcha. Bye, Grass.
The infamous
let him
sketch
back.
fix.
Don't let him back.
Oh my god, it's been so long.
Hey, welcome.
I think did I call somebody else? Oh no, they're just in the fucking call.
Alright.
Maybe so.
Nylox says this stream is seriously the best stream he's been on for. So,
Nice.
cool.
Damn.
Awesome,
Yeah.
glad to hear
Thanks,
that.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See some shit? I see
Very
some
glad to.
I see some shit
Glad
too,
to be
buddy.
entertaining and hopefully educational.
see
Yeah,
some
actually,
dogs?
fucking shit. Let
shit. See
me.
buddy cop dogs.
No, I'm seeing your actual screen. Ah, come on.
Tegan and Seraph.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun backstory. Chris's wallpaper is my dog with another dog.
Yep.
That's awesome.
They're good friends.
That's awesome.
Very good friends with each other. Yeah, I was just going through Merv's art and doing some of the assets in there, and I saw these monitors here. Cool for any of them.
No, that looks,
My
that
goal
looks-
for this week too, I want to like get textures
sick,
for the
dude.
inside that can animate. I want to see how the fuck I'm gonna do that, because I honestly am not sure exactly how yet.
you might have to just.
We could use the tile sheeter.
No, that's what I'm gonna do, but I don't know if it's better to like make it to just separate the screen as a whole separate object that's always linked to this, or unwrap the whole thing and just have like a certain quad that has an animated texture on it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
probably. Like I would say keep the screen a separate object, and then we can do whatever we want with it. Because another thing that we can do with it that I really want to do somewhere, I don't know where though, is we can do. You can in Unity you can render to texture, which means that like we could have that screen actually show a live piece of the game elsewhere. Like we can have a camera that is technically somewhere else in the world and have that rendered to that screen.
That'd be badass, like
Yeah.
security monitors.
Yep, exactly.
Actually, that would be really cool for getting some like perspective, because then we would have a reason for having
That's
3D models.
I wonder if could you do that? Like displaying, you have an isometric game, but have a 3D camera that's shooting from a different angle.
Yep.
That's fucking badass.
That is pretty dope.
Alright, well, I also have this idea I thought of today. It looks kind of stupid in here, but even in fucking rendering it, I can't see it well in viewport, but like, I was thinking of Mur's little grid things, but I want to get like a bluish green version of Mike that's just spinning around in here all the time, like a hologram.
See you, Nilox, by the way. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he said he's going to be back, but if we're not streaming by the time he gets back.
Cool.
So
Sorry.
Hopefully we'll see. Yeah. But yeah,
Sure.
I think that looks awesome. And like,
Yeah, but I want to
Yeah,
have
that's
this is.
rad.
I think this box is roughly. I imported his model before into Max, and I used roughly this height. But I want to have him just idle, just spinning around in here.
you
Like,
could use the rotate object script
background,
on
like
him.
when we start getting into the clone areas, like maybe these holograms are in the background or some shit, just showing off him.
Yeah, like honestly, you could do that yourself. Like you could, if you throw that object in and then just grab the actual model of the character and then use the rotate object script, then you're good.
Yeah.
Then you're good to go.
That's what I want to do. But I want to change his textures up to look like a hologrammy version.
Oh yeah, that would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
Yeah, just making background assets stuff.
No, actually, I'm these assets that I'm making are all temp. Like I'm gonna eventually make them so that they are higher poly and better rendered, but like these are just for placement and shit, just to match
Sure.
what we've got. So I would love to just like take out some of these, but like if we start getting I don't know, well I guess you can't see my screen right now, but I would like to get some of these assets out of there and then like make them in their own file. You know what I mean? And that way we have an asset that we can just drag and drop into a scene.
Yeah, that's what's gonna have to happen. Everything's gonna have to be like when you actually go out and FBX shit out, it has to be the way you like it at 0. Just so it gets into Unity correctly, we can make prefabs and then do the scene setup in there.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. I don't know.
Sweet.
It's been a busy fucking
Cool, man.
had much time.
No, for sure, man. But yeah, that's looking sweet, man. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess that pretty much covers the meeting. Did anyone else have anything else they wanted to go over?
I don't think so. If you're watching my screen, PS, this is I just fixed a little bug with the with death. So I had this bug that if you died but all of your pieces got into the same portal, it would technically think that it counts you as being fully inside of the portal, so it's supposed to teleport you. But the problem is that when you're dead, it can't do that. And so what would happen is the portal would just be in this constantly like activating state, but it could never teleport the pieces of your character. So I just had to make an explicit call to say, like, if this character is dead but every single one of your pieces are inside of it, then it counts you as not being as like being in pieces technically. So
What's falling first? Is that his leg?
yeah, like it's kind of interesting. I don't like.
Like his leg comes off.
He's breaking.
Well,
terminal
they're
velocity.
technically two different pieces, right? So like if we look in here, I think that's his arm. Yeah, that's his arm. So if we grab, where's our hierarchy? There we go. Let's open him up, and so yeah, his ankle and shoulder are separated. So if we grab old ankle over here, which is tiny piece,
Gonna grab ankle.
and his shoulder. So yeah, we move that over here. I want to make sure it still gets into the thing, but where's the root object? So if we unpause that now, yeah, you'll kind of see that they are actually... Oh, they all go to the same spot, though, eventually. But yeah, they are... Like, his arm and his ankle are both completely separated from his body, but they're getting teleported to the exact same spot whenever the portal activates. So yeah, it's a fun one.
Awesome, man. Cool. I'm going to jet in a bit because I gotta eat, and I don't think everyone wants to listen to me eat while I'm streaming. I could be wrong, but that's just my assumption. With that being said, before I take off really fast, I just actually wanted to remind people of actually Headcloud had a question earlier, and I just wanted to make sure we addressed it.
I have it. I actually pasted it into my own chat window so that I had it available.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, yeah. I mean, I as far as making your own game, yeah. I mean, as a designer, if you don't know how to, I mean, the advice that I'll give before I jet it, as a designer, that if you don't know how to code or how to art, it's going to be a bit difficult going solo, so to speak. But there's a lot of programs that are a bit more accessible that you could probably just pick up and start working on, that you could get into even by yourself. Game Maker is a big one. There's something on Unity called Playmaker that has a bit of a curve to it, but it's kind of a visual scripting kind of program that lets you. It basically does what you would do, but through code, but it does it in a very visual way that you would be able to, drag and drop different components and elements into, and hopefully make something that's running. I mean, all these things have a curve.
I'm gonna try and not rage about that.
Yeah, I've got my own thoughts on it as well. But I mean, that being said, if you're just looking to start, the most important thing is, as I've stated before, and I think we've all stated, is if you want to be doing this, if you want to get into the industry, you just got to be making games, and you got to do it through any means necessary. I used to, when I was younger, work in a program called Click and Play, pretty old school. Became the Games Factory, and it was ghetto as hell, and really just sucked. I used to work in the Rise of the Triad level editor, if anyone recalls that thing. I didn't really know how to program or how to art too well, but I found things that I could just make playable things in, and I kept evolving, and ultimately, I ended up, meeting a really good team of people, such as Joe and Chris and AJ and Kyle, and we all kind of brought our own skills to the table, and we all were able to make a product. We've all been making products together for at least a little while, but yeah. So I would say, just find a way to make games. That's what's important, and find people who can do things that you cannot, and make sure that you have something that you can also bring to the table. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Joe, you probably have better advice, because I'm not sure if it's a programming question or not.
Well, it sounds like it's kind of not, in the sense that saying he wants to get into game development but doesn't know programming. And so, yeah, again, I would say, I mean, as my advice for general game development is learn some programming. You don't have to be you don't have to be an engine programmer. You don't have to know C or C++, but learn a little something. Learn even just a scripting language of some kind, so that you know how logic and how flow works in a game development, in a game loop and all that kind of stuff. That stuff is super handy to understand. So I would say just learn a little bit of programming, and that's advice if you don't know programming and you're not interested in being a programmer, to any respect. Which it's hard for me to give advice to, because I can't personally relate to that. I think if you want to be a game developer, I'm I would just know how to program so that I can do stuff on my own, and so that I don't have to be worried about finding someone to take care of all of the programming for me. It's weird. Headclot. Well, hopefully Headclot, even if you can't see this live, the video will work, since I'm still seeing this stream, so you can get to it at some point in the future. But yeah, I'd say learn a little bit of programming, learn enough to make your own basic game, and if And if at that point you're like, yes, super not into this programming thing, but I really want to be involved in game development, then just learn like the bare minimum, learn any kind of basic game engine that will get you to the point where you can make a simple game that will show off your 3D art and stuff like that. And you know, Unity, the learning curve on Unity is not crazy if you want to make a basic game. Like, you can learn just enough scripting in Unity to be able to make something basic, and it will not take you forever. You know, like and again, if you're not worried about being a programmer and being a good programmer and doing things like the quote unquote proper way, then you can like hack together, like you can Frankenstein other people's code, you know, from like Unity forums and stuff like that, and just make your own little game and do whatever you need to do with it. So learn enough programming so that you can be somewhat independent is the biggest advice I can give. So that if you can make something that says like, hey, I do this 3D art, do this animation, and here is it in a game setting, that speaks volumes. And I can't imagine you'd have trouble finding work if you were able to present something like that. Even if the code end of it was not great, if you made something really simple that allowed for people to see your art in an interactive setting, then that right there is enough for you to kind of get into game development any which way you want to. So yeah, that's what I got.
Cool. All right. Yeah, guys. I'm gonna take off for a little bit, but yeah, if you guys are still streaming later tonight, then I might join you again. And if not, then I'll talk to you guys and stream with you later in the week.
Cool.
But yeah, thanks everyone, and I'll see you guys later.
Peace, man.
Bye.
Yeah, that's probably about the same with me. If I'm on late, I'll fucking holler at y'all.
Yeah. I don't really like. I'm gonna save my task for creating that clone death thing for later. And I think AJ's. I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
It's definitely AF.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna split. Thanks for having me on the stream. The show was pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, it was a good time. I think we got a lot of stuff done. So I think we're good for now. But yeah, thanks everybody for stopping by and watching some more game dev. And again, like, I don't know, I got a couple little things done, but I really want to like plan out a good time to get a nice big chunk of tasks done. So hopefully at some point this week we'll be able to really do that. But yeah.
Head Klutz says he's still buffering. And he wants to know if you can follow us on Twitter. Yes, you can.
On that, I'm dipping out.
Alright, cool, man.
Thanks, y'all. I'll catch you guys later.
Word.
Alright, man. See you.
Okay, see ya. I'm gonna go too, so yeah, talk to you guys later.
Cool, man. Let me give Head Klutz our Twitter. It is in our info, but
yeah,
I'll
I
just
posted on there.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I think we're kind of set for now. Alex peaced out. Chris peaced out. So
Oh, good. So we can get some real work done.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wow. But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up for now, and maybe we might do, if you want to do like one later, we'll see. But
yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind showing what I'm doing. I mean, realistically, I just kind of was creating this. Can you? Oh, you can't even see my stuff anymore, can you?
Nope.
Bummer. Here, let me give it to you. Sharing screens, just so that we're all caught up on what we're doing. I kind of just created this, like, sort of, I don't want to say temp level, but this is mostly just so that we can test out that forced perspective idea.
Oh yeah, cool.
So I want to kind of like still put in those little loops and shit, because if you look at the art, we've got all of this stuff here, especially these guys, like these like tons of wires, it looks like a bunch of wrapped wires.
Oh yeah.
So I'm thinking that all of these wrapped wires, like, rather than being where he's running, I'm thinking I might just put them like going up this little thing here. So it's still following the concept art,
Yeah.
and then that way I can have it go into this guy here with all of these wires and such. And right now it's just a really basic block. Kind of funny though, because I did stretch textures on it. It actually looks like it's got lighting on the top.
Oh yeah, it does.
So that's kind of cool. As that was a fun little accident. But the so I kind of want to test that forced perspective thing. I want to test a couple of other things, but I think we need like assets to do it. And I did kind of start fleshing out these guys a little bit, like these big guys here. So you can see I've got like actual geometry modeled in to these guys to kind of build them out a bit. But I don't really know how much we want to have, like, especially for background art pieces. I don't know how high poly we want to go with it, so I'm trying to keep them very minimal. Just because, you know, if it's something that we're going to be running by and not really taking a chance to look at, or if there's not going to be any dynamic lighting on it, there's really no reason to have too much in the way of hardcore fleshed out geometry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just kind of doesn't really. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, expending more memory than we really need to.
Yeah, sure.
So, like, you know, this kind of stuff here, which is just like a whole bunch of wires, I don't mind doing, especially if it's just going to be like, you know, if it's not really going to be moving at all. But, you know, for this thing, doing the same idea as Chris, where I would have like an animated texture on top of it, that would be, you know, that would be its own separate object. And then this one up here too. So I'm trying to separate them out to have that kind of thing. I'm wondering if it might behoove us to just do like a plane. You know what I mean? Like have
like a background quad just that has the texture or something?
Kind of. More like we'll have the geometry fleshed out, kind of like this, you know? And then have this like basically in its off state. So like, and then we can have it turn on if the room turns on. I don't know if all of the rooms are always going to be on, but have it so that we have like a just to quickly show you. If I were to, for example, just grab these pieces of geo and then pull them out, you know, or not like that. But if I were to, like, let's say I had these pieces of geo that were its own separate piece of geo that was just slightly on top of this piece of asset, then we could literally do whatever we want with it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and we're not really, you know, expending too much memory by having a big screen or by having a big texture with only part of it being an animated piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then we would have all that extra piece that's textured that's literally not changing at all, which could flicker if something goes wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you have an entire art asset that's flickering for no reason. You know, simply because you have like an animated texture on one piece of it. So I'm wondering if we might want to just have like the screens themselves be their own separate asset.
Yeah. Well, we definitely will. Like that's what we were talking about with Chris. Like, we will need a separate object to use that. They'll use the render to texture feature,
right?
Where the screen will be showing a camera that is elsewhere. So,
right. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
We'll definitely have to have it as separate objects.
Word. Yeah, that's good to know.
In some capacity.
And another thing I'm curious about is, what do you want with these lights? Because I'm sure that Mur was thinking more along the lines of like blinky kind of server lights.
Oh,
you know
yeah, I mean? True.
So I'm wondering if maybe I should maybe pop into After Effects and create just an asset of one of these guys, or maybe two or three of these sets of lights, and just have them be like, you know, turning on and off at different rates, and then just like, you know, offset the animation and put them sporadically throughout.
But then it would have to be an animated texture?
Right. But again, that would just be a plane that would go on top of this guy.
Right. Right.
I mean, think of it all like a Wii me, like a me character. If you look at it at the wrong angle, you can actually see like the
Oh, like the faces in front of the actual like head.
Exactly. So something similar to that, where we'll have like this particular asset right here, which has, you know, which is like that, but then on top of it, I'll just like kind of quickly block it in. So if I were to put this, for example, this tiny little, you know, piece of geo like on top of it, like that, you know, but with like an animated texture.
Yeah.
So then we could then do whatever we wanted with it, as far without having to like create, you know, this big ass texture that's just going to eat RAM.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
So we would just kind of like do one of those and then like, you know, propagate them throughout. So something kind of like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
So I think that would probably help us a lot. Look how many people we lost as soon as I started talking.
Well, no, because we were wrapping up the stream when you came back, and then we're like, all right, so we're gonna go. So.
Oh, wow, I suck. All right, man. So if we're gonna wrap up the stream, I'm fine with that. What are you doing? You doing anything?
Yeah, we're gonna run some errands, but I might be back after that.
Cool.
So yeah. But yeah, I mean, we got some stuff done, and I really want to plan out like a more in-depth stream of like, you know, doing real programming tasks instead of like kind of getting a couple of bugs done, but then like there's not enough to it. So
right. We should also probably try and I don't know. We sometimes go off on tangents with a lot of the questions. We might want to.
Yeah, but that's good. That gets us the most interaction and most views, honestly. Like whenever you're talking and educating people, that's a bigger thing. But yeah, like we'll definitely do more of that in the future. But yeah, I think we're good for now. So we will be back on another date for or maybe even later today. Who knows?
Maybe even later in the night. I'm good for tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, if you want to do like an art thing, I would, you know, that's cool too. I would do that.
Yeah, I might want to test out some shit, see what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know? I would just say like, you know, make the title of it, you know,
art.
Like art. Yeah, something that is, because there are definitely, you know, there's a couple of ones that are like, you know, somebody's doing texturing on one and doing some 2D art in another. So it's definitely a thing to definitely a point of interest. But people can't find it if they're looking at if the title says programming and then they're doing art and they're like, that's how people get lost.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, so I guess we're done for now. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and
absolutely,
we will be back. We'll be back in the future. These are definitely like super awesome. Everyone has a good time, and hopefully people learn a little something, and we learn a little something. So
we should.
It's my Mr. Rogers outro.
Yeah, right. Do you want to host 2D? He's streaming right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah. Totally. So yeah, we'll. Where is he? Yeah, I need to pay more attention to that kind of stuff. Alright, so yeah, thanks everybody for stopping by. We're going to host 2D Heroes. He is also making an awesome Unity game, so definitely check that out, and you will certainly learn a little something if you watch his stuff. So,
yeah, he's good.
So yeah, so night everybody, and thanks for tuning in, and we're gonna pass it over to our good buddy 2D Heroes. So we will see you on the later times. And so it is now hosting, so we'll wait for that to catch up. I think
there it goes.
Nice.
Alright, let's turn off on my shit. So what are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?